NBA draft coverage, a live show, a second screen experience. Rob Doster, John Henson, the 14th pick in the 2012 NBA draft. Randolph Childress, the 19th pick in the, let's just say it was a draft that was a while ago. And Jeff Goodman, the last pick in kickball every single time he went out in elementary school. My name is Rob Doster, and we're going to be here throughout the first round of the NBA draft. And gentlemen, this is going to be the Cooper Flag draft. He's the biggest name in the draft. He's one of the best prospects we've seen in a long time. He now has a goatee, and I think he's wearing the goatee because he's tired of people thinking that he's 17 years old. Randolph, what do you make of Cooper Flag? What do you make of his eventual and inevitable selection here by Dallas? How does he fit with Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Kyrie Irving, and the Mavericks?
I think he's going into the best situation of a freshman, maybe in the history from a number one draft picks in the NBA. You're going in to a playoff-ready team that's going to have, when they're healthy, he'll be the third or fourth option on that team. And that's incredible when you're talking about one of the more complete, if not the most complete prospect we've had in, 20 years. So does everything well. I think he's going to continue to improve and everything else, but he comes to the door day one, ideal situation, ready to help and compete. And I think the Mavericks are they're delighted to have him, obviously. And I expect big things. They're going to be a problem in the West if healthy.
Henson?
When we talked in the preseason, guys, I think we said if the kid averaged 16 and 7 and 4 assists, he'd be a National Player of the Year type player. It'd be an unbelievable year. Well, Cooper Flag averaged 19 plus, 7.5 rebounds, more than 4 assists, a block and a half, a steal and a half, and he shot 39% from three. An insane freshman year that had me calling Cooper Flag a really good number 2 option to a guy that you can build your franchise around after the season.
Yeah, he's what your NBA team want: size, length, athleticism that can defend, play multiple positions. You saw in the finals, the 4s and the 5s were, hey, look, it was kind of like a boxing match. All right, we're going to throw Chet at the 4, at the 5 this time. Thunder's best lineup was with Chet Holmgren, by far, not even close, at the 5. The Pacers, they played well with Siakam at the 5. So he's a prototypical prospect. Not only prototypical, now he's your number 1 pick, the best player in the draft, by no question about it. The Dallas Mavericks are in a good spot, and they have a bridge as well, because now they're going to be able to bridge that future, right? So, they're trading away Luka and getting that. Nico needs to go to the casino, man. He's got some luck on his side.
Hey, Cooper Flag, we talk so much, and there's been so much conversation, not just here with us, but in general, about the face of the NBA. Who's going to be the next guy? Who's going to be next face? I think it's this guy who's getting drafted by the Dallas Mavericks tonight. I think we don't have to worry about that. He's going to an ideal situation that's going to expedite that, and I think he's the next American superstar.
That's where I land with it, right? Like, if he was the normal age for a college freshman and he did all this and did what he did this season, we'd be raving about how good he is as a player. And he's not. He was the youngest player in Division I basketball last season. He turned 18 on December 21st. If he was 11 days younger, he would not be eligible for this NBA draft. Like, the fact that he did all this at the age that he did it is absolutely incredible.
Jeff, do you remember this? We were down at Peace Jam. And this was 2 years ago when he was playing. He didn't play 17, so was it 15, 16, 16s? And he was about 6'7" at the time. And he was he was great. But we were kind of like, or I was, let me say me, but we both had this conversation where it was like, all right, at 6'7", he's playing like the 4. He's got to grow. He's getting better. All these things. We were having some concerns. And then he just continued to get better. He grew. He checked every box, man. He exceeded the expectations, and that's not easy to do because those things were ridiculously high about him coming into Duke. And, we'll get into that another day, but they were, to me, a point guard away from winning a national championship, in my opinion.
So
do you think
if he does go number 1 as expected here by Dallas with Kyrie, who's coming off the knee injury, is going to miss some time this season, and Anthony Davis, another injury-prone player. Where does Dallas fit in this conversation in which it's fairly wide open right now? I mean, Oklahoma City, certainly they're the favorites to repeat, but nobody's repeated for a while. Where's Dallas fit in that convo if those guys are healthy?
They're right there. I would put if they're healthy, they're right there. I mean, it's OKC. You got to go with OKC. But after that, it's not just the starters. It's the depth. And with Cooper, with that starting lineup, with those guys, once healthy and complete, and if they get the right point guard, that they're involved with the rumors that they're saying, whether it's Chris Paul, whomever it may be, to kind of bridge that gap until Kyrie gets back, they're a team that I don't think anybody want to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, when you saw them healthy a few times, right?
Yes.
They looked apart. They looked apart without Cooper Flag, right? Kyrie, AD, the lobs. And I think the thing that most excites me about them is the versatility of their lineups. They can go big, small, put Cooper at the forward, AD at the 5, maybe throw Cooper at the 3, depending on the situation. You got Kyrie, and you've got the young kid who looks really good and hardy, and so it's if they get healthy, man, it's going to be a 2-year window, but I think they're going to be really good.
The thing I love about him most, and I'll say this, is that even though we're in this 3-ball era where everybody's shooting it, he's not the way he plays. He's coming in day one. You run a ball screen with him and Kyrie, you switch, he posting your guards up. You put a bigger guy on him, he's involved in ball schemes. He's going to do the same thing he did in college and go right to the NBA, and he won't miss a beat.
I think it's undervalued, the importance of players that just understand the right play to make, right? Like guys that are going to catch the ball in the wing and either shoot the open 3 or kind of rip through and straight line drive to the basket. I think 10, 12, 14 years ago, it was, what's their bag look like? How good are they one-on-one? Can they beat this guy off the bounce? Can he score in isolation? Can he beat a mismatch? Can he beat a switch? And I think it's the NBA has gone more towards it's pace and space and how quickly can you execute and how quickly can you process the game. And to me, the thing that makes Cooper Flag so good is he could do all of that stuff. Like we knew he could do all of that stuff that makes you a great role player before this past season. That's what he was great at when he was growing up, Henson. But what we saw this past year was he could also go and get you 40 if he needed, right? He could be a go-to guy. He shot over 40% from 3, and we were like, I don't know if this guy can shoot. I think the fact that he turned into like the number one go-to guy while all of that was happening and doing all the other stuff, that's what makes him so special in my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he presents a matchup problem as well, even though, you don't like to think of him as a matchup problem with the pieces around. You can't really help off AD, right? Like you can't really help, right? So he's going to be able to kind of get in his bag. I kind of say like with LaMelo Ball, he's got the weight over nice. So he's like Cooper Flag's going to be able to just kind of ease into this being the man. And I think Kyrie and AD, I both know them personally. Like they're great dudes, great teammates. So I mean, I think they already went to dinner. I think they were talking about it. They already went to dinner with him and stuff. So I think this is going to be seamless for him. He's going to be on a good team. He already knows how to win. And he's going to a winning situation. It's going to be exciting, like I said, to see what they do, how Dallas molds and uses him. I'm curious, but where else do you want to be? And Dallas is a good city. I mean, you know what I mean? If we're talking cities.
He extends their window, right? He extends their championship window. Is what he does.
Yep.
He extends it beyond 3 years, right? Because of Kyrie age and because of the health of Anthony Davis, we were kind of like, hey, it's got to be 2 years. Now they add Cooper Flag. He extends that.
You don't have there's no rebuild. The rebuild comes when you're kind of aging out AD and Kyrie, right? And then now you just build around Cooper Flag. And oh, by the way, as he's figuring out how to play, he's doing it with 2 Hall of Famers next to him, Goodman. It's almost like this was the luckiest turn of events that we could have seen for Dallas after getting rid of Luka Doncic. Who could have seen this coming, Goodman? Nobody.
You mean 3. You mean 3, Rod. We can't forget the importance of the championship pedigree of the shooter down there in Klay Thompson. Now, we can't forget how important he is for a team that's trying to win a championship.
You're right.
I just think the beauty of Cooper Flagg is you could put him anywhere and tell him, like you said, Rob, to play any role. When Kyrie's not going to be there early, he'll probably have to take on a little bit more scoring load. He can do that. And then when Kyrie comes back, you know what he's going to be? He'll turn back into that elite passing forward, right? That point forward that you can play through and let Kyrie play off the ball a little bit. I mean, whatever you need from him, he's going to be able to give you, and his basketball IQ is off the charts, which is going to help because Kyrie, Henson said he's a great teammate, can be a great teammate, not always, but he needs to respect you. And I think he's going to respect Cooper Flagg immediately because of his basketball.
Listen, that's
shot in there, man. You had to get the shot in there.
Jeff is the media. Like I'm talking sitting in a room on the court with him behind closed doors on the basketball
Phenomenal
court.
Dude. Phenomenal dude.
Because he respected you. But there,
he's
a
a
lot of
guy.
coaches. There are a lot of coaches that didn't love Kyrie.
But hey, look, if I'm Dallas, I'm running horns all day. Let's run horns. Let's get this thing rolling. Horns with AD and Cooper. Hey, pick which side, roll and pop, and play out of that.
There you go. All right, let's move to the second pick because it is the Spurs, and they are expected to. The thought is that they're going to end up taking Dylan Harper here, right? We talked about this a little bit before the draft started, but RC, the biggest question I have is that you're looking at this team, and you got a guy in Victor Wembanyama who you want to put a bunch of people that can get to the basket and drivers and shooters and spacers around him because the whole idea is you got this 7'4" elite rim protector that is also a floor spacer to be able to you can get to the basket when he pulls centers away. You got Steph Castle there as well, the reigning rookie of the year, who can't really shoot. And we saw this happen a little bit when he was at UConn where people didn't guard him and just kind of said, all right, we're going to put our 5 on him. We're going to have our body in front of the rim. And it kind of takes away from the advantage that you get with the spacing with Victor Wembanyama. How does it work? De'Aaron Fox, potentially Dylan Harper here, Steph Castle, Victor Wembanyama. Is there an answer here that makes sense? Or is this just take as many talented guys as you can get, and if you got to trade them and package them and try to find a different fit later on, you just find a different fit later on?
You do what San Antonio does. You draft and develop, right? And that's what that organization is about. And I like I've said this before, I think it's the most stable franchise in the NBA and has been for the last 20, 25 years. So you've got a nucleus. You've got the unicorn, right? You got the one-on-one. Now you're just trying to find pieces to come in. Dylan Harper's coming in. He's going to be, unlike most of these guys, he's NBA body ready. He's more of a scorer than shooter, but he can come in now and you can slide, Fox off the ball and just let him stay in attack mode when needed. So there's so many options I think that they have with that. He's another, secondary ball handler as well. They've got guards with Val, so there's so many other guys that they have. But again, shooting, they'll probably pick that up with veteran pieces and things of that nature. But I don't know if you want to pass on a talent like him. If they did, I thought if there was a veteran guy that they wanted, that they felt like fit what they were doing, then this could have been a trade pick with the pieces again. But again, they got Stephen Castle there. Having another guard that can also initiate and run your point, isn't a bad idea. And we all know what the ability of Dylan Harper is and what he can be.
Is he obviously Henson the second best player in this draft? Like, is he? Yeah. Everyone has kind of put him there. Do you think he deserves that?
I think he is now. I think before the season, we were all thinking that it was Cooper Flagg and it was Ace Bailey. That was the conversation everybody was talking about. Now, if those things had lived up to, if Ace Bailey was without all these distractions and everything else, and he had that type of season, position-wise, I thought he would be more of a fit to San Antonio than Dylan Harper, but you can't question who had the better year and who's physically ready to help you right now. I think it's no question it's Dylan Harper of those two.
Yeah, Henson?
Yeah, 6'5" with shoes on. He's got size. And like you said, if you're San Antonio, you can roll that ball and figure it out. If he's good enough, he'll contribute, he'll play. And, you're going to have to pay. Like, that's just how it goes. And, I remember just turning to a Rutgers game, didn't really, never seen the guys play like that. And I was like, immediately I'm like, wait, Ace Bailey, like Harper's the guy, right? And so he led that team all year. He was the guy. And I think he's going to be fine in San Antonio. Like RC said, they're such a stable organization, man. You don't see too many guys go there that are talented enough on the court and have the intangibles off the court falter. And I think he's the next big time player for them. And, you know, with all these injuries and things going on, man, you just never know, right? So you have to make sure you have talent to continue to maximize Wembanyama's window, because you're going to have to pay this kid $100 million a year, kind of with the new deals going with the new salary cap. So, you know, you better see what you got before he signs that dotted line. So I love this position the Spurs are in.
Yeah. Goodman?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got the highest floor. You know, I think that's the one thing about Dylan Harper. I don't think, you know, obviously Cooper Flagg's got the highest floor, but after that, you trust Dylan Harper. You know, kind of like I trusted Cade Cunningham. I don't think he's going to be as good, but I think he can be in that mold a little bit of kind of a bigger guard who's not really a true point, but has good instincts, good intangibles, knows how to win. I know that's tough to say after last year at Rutgers, but, you know, he's a winning player. You can tell he played through a lot of injuries last year as well. So I like the pick. I don't think you could pass up on him, even though the fit might not be ideal today for San Antonio. They can certainly trade Steph Castle after the Rookie of the Year performance last year. And, you know, if they want to wait a couple months and see what they have in Dylan Harper, that's what I would do if I'm them.
Mm-hmm.
Gives you negotiating leverage too, right? If the Fox don't want to take his money, they've got Harper. You know, it gives you a little leverage too as a Spurs too. So they're in a good spot.
Yeah,
they're in a great spot.
You said you don't know if he'll be as good as Cade Cunningham. I think that he will be. Maybe I'm too high on Dylan Harper here.
Really good.
I think he's got a chance to be like an all NBA caliber player at some point in his career as well. Just look at the way these kind of jumbo creators are having success right now, right? The guys like an SGA or a Tyrese Halliburton, and you could put Cade Cunningham in that same conversation. Players that you can put in ball screens and players that know how to use their strength and take advantage of it. I think there's a little bit of Jalen Brunson in his game too, in terms of how well he can kind of use his body to create space and separate. I think he's got a chance to be that level of a player. And I don't know if it's definitely going to happen, but I think he's got the potential to be.
Cade is 6'8", 220, could play small forward, like
a lot bigger.
I think he'll get there, and he'll get there quicker because he doesn't have – Cade Cunningham had to pull it up through the mud. No one made the game necessarily easy for him to do it. Harper's going into a situation with a bunch of guys already. You know, De'Aaron Fox can go. He's got the unicorn with him. He's got the other Rookie of the Year with him. Like, he's coming into his situation isn't as good as Cooper Flagg's, but it's second, and then it's pretty damn good. I think he's going to be a stud, man, in the sense of he doesn't have too much pressure and responsibility other than to come in and just do his job.
You got me thinking about it now. I'm going to bring up the Detroit Pistons roster from 2021-22, and I'm just going to read off some of the names here. We got Hamidou Diallo, we got Carson Edwards, Jeremy Grant, Killian Hayes, Frank Jackson, Corey Joseph, Isaiah Livers, Kelly Olynyk, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey. You're telling me that you think that the Spurs with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle is better than what I just listed right there? Randolph? I don't know, man.
And I got Trey.
It's a coin flip route. That's what you're telling me.
I was in Detroit right before that, and let me tell you, it was a dumpster fire out there. Shout out to Cade getting through that.
Oh my God!
All right, we got the number 3 pick coming up here. What do you do right now if you're Philly, Henson?
Trade it.
What do you do?
Take the best player on your board. You know, even if Ace Bailey doesn't want to come there, if he's the best player, you take him. You know, and you figure it out, right? I mean, obviously everyone's saying Edge comes.
Break the news, Goodman. Break the news, Goodman.
Okay, so he's going. But also, 76ers cannot take much more drama. They need somebody that's going to come in there, put their head down, work hard, and just, you know, stay off the radar. I think Edgecombe's that guy. Ace Bailey didn't want to go there. I mean, and that's it. It is what it is. There's not enough balls right there for them to shoot, for him to be successful, in my opinion. So I would have took the number 3 pick, but for me, it is what I got. His representation. Like Jeff said, he's just doing it all wrong, I guess. But I don't think so. I think they got a promise at 5 to 6 range, and they hoping he drops.
I think it's a good pick. I honestly think it's Flag, it's Harper, and then after this next group of guys, I think it's Ace, I think it's Johnson, Edgecombe, and Maluach, and then after that, I think it's a tick below. I think those for me are the 6 guys that I think can come in and help you in a big capacity in some way as rookies. These other guys, I think now we're going to get into more of what's the situation they're being drafted into.
I think.
Listen, Edgecombe, what he gives them a culture guy, a guy that works at it. He's super athletic. We know that. He's big. He's strong. And ultimately, you've got 2 guys right now that you have they're on big contracts in Embiid and Paul George. You have no idea if they're going to be able to unload those contracts. If Embiid's going to be healthy coming off the knee injury, Paul George,
he's not going to be healthy. Another spoiler alert: he's not going to be healthy. It's never going to happen.
But we know that, right? Agree. So you need somebody you can trust. You need somebody you can trust. Ace Bailey, you can't trust. You don't know what you're getting. You got to take a guy that at least you can kind of build around. He's not going to be a number 1 guy, VJ Edgecombe. He's not. We know that. He's not going to be a great shooter, but he can be a good player. You got Maxey that you're kind of going to build around and hope he can be a number 1 guy, at least a number 1 scorer. McCain can be a good piece. You got to start accumulating good, solid players. And what VJ does is he can guard at a high level, and he is a incredible athlete.
Plug and play. He's a plug and play guy that can come in and help you defensively. And I tell kids all the time when they ask, I'm like, look, if you can play defense and you can defend and get on that court, then you can expand, right? You can show him what you got. But so he'll be able to get on the court from a defensive perspective, and then it's going to be kind of a wild card, right? Can he improve his shooting? What's his creating like? What's his playmaking like? And it could be looking down the road like, hey, this was a great pick for them. They're due for something, right? And Philadelphia's been they haven't had the best luck.
He's going to impact the game defensively with them. He gives them size and athletic ability and a defender first. I think offensively his game's coming. All the tools are there to be a stud. But again, he's coming into a situation, if healthy, again, that's a really good roster of teams. Now, that's as big as there is in college in the NBA is with those 2 guys, with PG and Joel Embiid, with those guys trying to stay on the court.
How come Tre Johnson's not getting more love here, guys? Like, I understand why people fall in love with his potential. And like VJ Edgecombe, like, I get it. The elite athlete, culture guy, can defend. If you're buying a jump shot, you got a 3-and-D wing right there that could play for 12 years. I get it. Tre Johnson is the bucket getter, man. Like, he is the shooter. He is the guy that can run for days. He averaged 20 points a game in the SEC playing for Texas that looked like they weren't coached last. Like, why are we not talking about Tre Johnson in that same tier? Because I would have taken Tre Johnson.
I agree. I mean, I think his issue is not making guys better around him. And so, defensively, there's just some questions, but he's personally one of my favorite players. You the leading scorer, the best conference in history. Like, that means you got a little stuff to you. I don't care what you say. So, obviously, the scoring is going to translate. Can he guard? What is he like as a player? What's his intangibles? Is he a good teammate? We don't know any of that stuff. NBA teams do, right, when they talk about these guys and interview them. I personally love him as a player, and he has one skill that's going to translate. He makes shots. And as you saw, you can defend all you want, but you got to have someone that can make some shots to really win. And, it's kind of how the Magic best defense in the NBA. They couldn't score. So you got to have those guys on the roster. So there's a couple teams down the line that he could fit in and come right in and play, maybe come off the bench like a 6-man Wallace, Jordan Clarkson type role, like professional scorer type role. Teams covet that. They want that, and those guys get paid too.
Yep.
He'll be drafted high, Rob. I don't think there's anything to worry about, Rob. I think he's going to go really high. But with the teams that we've had, these are teams that are playoff bound, win healthy, veteran stars on all of those teams. And I just think that, you're talking about an offensive guy in Tre Johnson. We know what that translates to. Those, San Antonio, Philly, and Mavericks are in a win now mode, I think.
Yeah, I just think that Tre can be more of like I see some Aaron Nesmith in his game, right? I see some Duncan Robinson in his game where I think that he can be this guy that you sprint off of screens, that could be your catch and shoot guy while he learns how to do all of that other stuff. And I do believe that there is a world where he ends up being someone that can be your kind of go-to offensive. Like we saw him do enough ISO one-on-one, go get a bucket at Texas, that I believe he's got that in his game. And oh, by the way, he also shot 40% from three and can run for days. So this is where the draft really starts, Randolph.
Yes.
And I'm going to go to you first here because we knew Cooper was going number one. It wasn't a secret. Dylan Harper was going number two. Every single person that does a mock draft had VJ Edgecombe go number three as of today. What do the Hornets do? Goodman, I don't know if you're going to break some news on us here again. Feel free to jump in whenever you get whatever you got. But Randolph, I'll start with you. What the hell do the Hornets do, man? Like at some point, you just got to figure they have to luck their way into like making a good pick up here at the top of the draft and start winning some games at some point, right? Are they just going to tank forever?
It's Kon.
You just tank and tank and
It's
tank
Kon
and tank and tank.
Kon
Kon Knueppel
Knueppel.
number 4. There you go. Randolph, say your piece, man. Go ahead.
I'm gonna get a lot of calls.
Randolph, if you look at the board, if you look at the board, it kind of sucks for them because what's left, like they sorely don't need any of that. There's like they need some solid stuff, and kind of just a guy. I mean, it's unfortunate for them per se from a pick, but like if you look at the board, like where else do they go? And I'll let you go, but like I'm just looking now, like dang, they got to draft. Like when you were talking, I was like, dang, they might have to take Kon, and they did.
Well, I would have taken. I thought from what their roster looks like in Miller and LaMelo Ball, I think you can add a Tre Johnson, or you can draft Maluach. It fits that. It's congratulations to Kon Knueppel. I mean, he's a heck of a player. I'm not questioning that. But I just thought that other guys were more ready to come in day one and help them. He's a hell of a shooter, one of the best, if not the best shooter in the draft. But I think you can also put Tre Johnson in that same scenario. So I think Tre Johnson is just more of a complete natural scorer. And that was what I would gravitate to that. My only concern about Kon Knueppel is defensively, and who's he going to guard. But again, it's new ownership. Charlotte's drafting another Dookie.
I got two things on Kon real quick before you get into that, Henson. I think Kon Knueppel, if you drafted him 10th, we'd all be sitting here saying that's a great value pick. You're getting a guy that's going to be a really good role piece for a team that wins games for a long time, right? When you're drafting 4th, you're a dog shit organization and you need to swing for the fences and hope that you're hitting grand slams and not hitting ground rule doubles, right? And I don't think that that's shade on Kon Knueppel. I think it's just there's other guys in this draft in this spot that are still on the board right now that have a higher ceiling that could end up being all-stars, all-NBA caliber players. And I don't know if Kon can be that guy. What I will say is this. A lot of the concerns that we have about him are similar to similar to concerns that we had about Desmond Bane, right? But Desmond Bane was he late first, early second? Where was he picked? Something like that.
Like late first.
Yeah. And Desmond Bane just got traded for 4 first-round picks. So I don't think that this is necessarily a bad pick. And at some point, you kind of just have to take who you think works with what you have. But if you're the Hornets and you won, they win 19 games last season, and you're sitting here saying, all right, the way that we're going to change our franchise is by drafting Kon Knueppel. I don't know if that is he's not the franchise changing talent. He'll be a good piece. And I think he fits really well next to Brandon Miller or LaMelo Ball. I just would have liked it more if it was the 8th or 9th pick, if that makes sense.
Well, you have your franchise chasing guys, right? And LaMelo and Brandon Miller. So, I think this is just a pick of, look, we got to get someone that fits a need, that fits a role, that can win, help us win. Like you said, we've been bad for so long. We got to start filling out this roster with capable players. And I kind of like to think about my draft. The Kings had the 4th pick. they called me and said, we would draft you, but 4th is too high for you. And they picked Thomas Robinson. And so some teams may do that. But like I said, in hindsight, right, that's not the right thing to do. They probably should have drafted me, right? So, the Hornets.
I love that you got a checklist, Henson. You know
Hey.
all these teams that did not.
Hey,
draft.
Rob, he was holding on to
everything.
that one. He basically those guys.
But I'm
he
saying
remembered that.
I love Sacramento loved me. And so if Charlotte Hornets love this guy and they think he can fit, that's the best situation to be in. I think part of the reason when Thomas Robinson got drafted 4th, they were kind of calling my agent like they were kind of trying to figure out what was going on. Hey, should we take him? And ultimately said, hey, like that's too high for him. We're going to put that pressure onto him. So I think with Kon Knueppel, number 4 is just a lot of pressure. But the organization's behind it. I think he'll be fine.
Hey, and let's give him some credit too, man. When Cooper Flagg rolled his ankle and was out, and we questioned whether he was going to be available for the NCAA tournament, Kon Knueppel stepped up and he showed he can put that team on his back and somewhat and lead that team in the ACC tournament. So credit to him. I agree with some of the things you said, Rob. But again, he's an elite shooter. We know that, and obviously that's what the Charlotte Hornets,
and he's high character. He's also high character. He's also safe, right?
There.
Like LaMelo. Listen, LaMelo is what LaMelo is, right? Like he doesn't guard. Not a lot of people, again, are that high on LaMelo as a winning player right now. You need winning players. Kon Knueppel brings in a guy that you know what you're going to get out of him. And at the highest end, again, I'm not saying he's going to be this guy, but you're hoping he could be like a poor man's like Klay Thompson.
Got 4 other Knueppels coming on deck too. I see. Jesus.
Yeah, I think he can. I'm not sure I love the Klay Thompson comp. I just think Kon's going to be a guy that's going to be a really, really good role player for a long time. And I don't think it's a horrible pick. I just think it's one where Charlotte might have been able to maybe trade back in the draft a little bit. Number 5, Utah's on the clock, guys.
This pick is going to be a pick that, Rob, this is going to be a pick that if Ace Bailey or Tre Johnson or one of these guys coming up here develops into a star, it's just going to be one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda picks for an organization that desperately needs one of those guys.
I think Utah right now
has Kon sitting next to all of his brothers, and it literally just looks like an age. Have you ever seen one of those like TikTok trends? It's like this is what you look like at all these different ages. They all look exactly the same. Like just different.
Other dudes, one of them 6'10". They might be the one.
Yeah, they got a big boy over there at the end. Guys, I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know how many people watching this know this, but there is a lot on the line with this number 5 pick. Everybody has Jeremiah Fears mocked to the Utah Jazz at number 5. And for those of you that remember, in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, our Jeff Goodman and our John Martin had a little bit of a bet. They wagered. It started out as $1,000. It was a little too rich for Goodman's blood because he just bought a house. But they have money on Jeremiah Fears being a top 6 pick in this draft. So if Jeremiah Fears goes 5th, Goodman, I do believe that you're going to be out $200, correct?
Is it 100, 200? I think it's 100, but maybe.
Hey, it's more than that. But Jeff just don't want to say anything because he's renovating the house. He's renovating the house, and he don't want to tell his wife how much.
Oh man, Jeff, you gotta fire back. Like, hey, Jeff was solid in the chat.
It's going to be Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey's going 5th. Wow.
So that sounds about right. Jeff,
that's
you know the Angels are sketchy.
That's Danny Ainge saying, screw those plans. I don't care anything about that. That's a talented player, and Utah needs to draft well and try to swing on a kid with his upsides. Ainge is like, I don't care where you want to go. You're going to come here, and you're going to like that.
You're going to come here, and we're going to put the ball in your hands.
No. Don't do that. They're not doing.
They're not going to do that. No, they're not going to do that.
They're not doing that.
No, trust me.
No.
Here's what Danny Ainge is thinking with his son. Yeah. His son just took over Austin Ainge. They are thinking accumulate as many assets as you can right now. And what you do is, you know what? You feed Ace Bailey to the Wolves because why not? Get him numbers, see what you have, and you know what? You can move them. You can move them if you need to, but you need as much high-end talent as you can. You're Utah.
What does that
Also
mean?
in the draft room. In the draft room, the cameras go to the guy they're picking, so you know where they're going before when the clock starts. The cameras all come to the table. So,
But now we're on the watch, though, right? You're talking about a guy that when the season started, we was going to say he was going third. So right after this now, he's on the clock. Like, it gets to a point with some of these organizations, you got to say, we got to draft a guy with high upside. And this Danny Ainge saying, I don't care where you want to go or what organization has said what they want. It's I'm drafting you, and you're going to come. And it's a good situation for him.
Facts. I watched this YouTube today just to kind of just get a. I mean, he's an elite shot maker, athlete. I mean, he's. I think it's too much value right now. I don't know if the Jazz was the team that promised him, but Ainge has a background with his dad they built that organization in Boston.
Hey, John, let's be clear. They didn't cancel all their workouts to pick a spot and then say they was going to Utah. Let's be clear about that. That is not what the plan was.
You think this is because here's the thing. All it takes is one guy to mess up the draft. Like in my draft, when Waiters went, everyone else dropped slots and dumped. Everyone went back a slot because a certain player wasn't drafted what they thought. So I wonder if this messes up the draft, right? If Utah isn't the team that promised him.
I'd be surprised if they thought he was going to be there. And I think they looked at it at 5, thinking this is a kid that's top 2 or 3 talent. And 5 isn't much below that, but you get a guy like that. And I think he's one of the guys with one of the highest upsides. Forget all the noise around him. Everybody's talking about Coop, his representation, all of that. The kid has done nothing wrong. Talent-wise, his ceiling is up there with among those guys. And I don't blame Danny Ainge. I would have picked him as well. He has size. Because he has shot-making ability. He's a difficult, tough shot maker with size. And that's just something you just can't teach that. I mean, making difficult shot is a skill set. Now, his percentages will go up because he'll be around better players. He'll be around veteran guys. But again, as he physically matures, the kid's upside is unreal. Now, again, development comes a part of that. Does he want to be in Utah? Is he going to come in there with the enthusiasm as he would if he was picked by Washington? Or more importantly, you would think he probably wanted to go to Brooklyn. Or Washington. So I think he wanted to be in one of those teams, and then unfortunately, Danny Ainge had other plans. But again, tough shot maker, super skilled with his size. With his size and wingspan, he's going to be able to get his shot off against anybody. He can flat out score it as well. All the noise around him goes away. Big time pick for Utah Jazz there.
I think as RC said, one of the things he said, Rob, made a lot of sense. He's gotten a lot of criticism lately. And the criticism really falls to his representation. Now, again, you watch him on the court, there's some criticism there too. He takes some terrible shots, right? He's a tough shot taker. He's a tough shot maker at times. But he's not the one ultimately who probably hired Omar Cooper. He's not. I'm sure that was a family decision. And he took a lot for that. This is a kid now who comes in. Again, he'll have more on his shoulders. In Utah, they don't have a lot around him, but I think that may help him early. And you've got to surround Ace Bailey with the right people, the right character people in that locker room. Will Hardy's going to obviously have to play a huge part in that. But again, I talked to a bunch of people about Ace Bailey, the person and the worker, and what they say is good kid, works his ass off, loves ball.
Look at their roster. Their roster, he's going to have to play. He's going to have to play. Like when I look at their roster now, like they have nothing of the sort. So could be a good spot for them. And this might be the team that said, "Look, we're going to take you. Look at our roster." But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about it is exactly what you said, Gooden. I'm here in Jersey, right? I'm 45 minutes from the Rutgers campus. I have friends in our neighborhood that work for the Rutgers athletic department, and people don't say bad things about Ace Bailey, the human being, beyond the fact that he might be a little bit naive and for his
a little immature.
Yeah, like it's the same kind of thing, right? And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that where he ends up is a place like Utah, which is not exactly, Henson, you could tell us what your favorite NBA cities are, but it's not Toronto or Miami or LA or Houston or some of these other places where the distractions might be a little much for a 19-year-old that might be a little bit naive or immature or whatever it ends up being.
Rob, if you like white women, it might be the spot. Being honest, that's all I'm gonna say on that subject. So
hey, John. What he won't be is out hanging out drinking too much. You ain't got to worry about a ton of distractions there. All his hanging out is gonna be on the road, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. If you're into that, stuff, that's the spot. Trust me.
Let's be clear. He would have preferred to be in Washington, New Orleans, Brooklyn, and or Houston before him going to Utah. But no, it's a heck of a pick.
And I'll tell you this. I saved a lot of money by getting drafted to Milwaukee. I'll tell you that right now. I saved a lot of money by being drafted to Milwaukee.
You'll get better.
So he can always fly to LA. Man, it's close. A little quick. PJ, Vegas.
All right, let's end it with this. Randolph, we're looking at. We just saw Kon Knueppel go fourth. We saw VJ Edgecombe go third. We saw Ace Bailey go fifth. Tre Johnson is still on the board. Those are like the four best wings that we've seen kind of all in a group, right? I want your pick, each one of you. Who's going to be the best player out of that group in 5 years? RC, you go first, then Henson, then Goodman.
From which three guys?
From Kon Knueppel, VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey, Tre Johnson. We know where three of them ended up in the situations they're in. Who's going to be the best player in 5 years out of that group?
Tre Johnson's going sixth, by the way.
I think
Tre Johnson going sixth.
Who's $200 richer? Guess who's $200 richer, baby? That would be me.
That's called a sweat. Shout out BetMGM.
There you go.
Oh, John Martin. I like that pick, though. I like that pick for Washington.
Yep.
I think Tre Johnson's he's not a great athlete, but he can play next year. I don't know if Jeremiah Fears can play next season physically. I think, again, his upside is there. Tre Johnson's a professional scorer. That's what he is. To me, I like this pick for Washington.
I'm a Tre Johnson fan. I'm going to go with Tre Johnson as well. I love his game. And I just think he's going to be really good. And in this day and age with what teams want, I think Washington got him a really good player. So I'm going to go Tre Johnson just based off upside and translatable skill, right? Like I think he has a skill to translate. He can score that thing. He shot 40 from three while being the best player in the best conference on his team. So I think he'll be fine.
I think he's fitting what Washington Wizards are doing. They're starting to collect a bunch of young talent. We talked about with Alex Carr a year ago. Bub Carrington there. They're just collecting a bunch of young talented guys that are nucleus of guys that they're trying to get this thing moving in the right direction in developing these guys. They hit the draft well last year with those guys, and adding another guy like Tre Johnson there, you get a veteran guy via trade to get CJ McCollum in there to help these guys learn how to be a pro, take some pressure off of them as well. I really like that pick and the fit for what Tre Johnson's going to.
Yeah, is Brogdon still over there? Is Brogdon? I know Chris is over there. Is Brogdon still at the Wizards too?
I think it's CJ McCollum. Yeah, it's CJ McCollum, and it just got traded.
I mean, those are good pros. I personally know 2 or 3. Those are good pros.
Here's my question, guys. I want Henson and RC. I want you both to answer this because I feel like you have these vets, right? You got like 3 or 4 guys that are kind of on the expiring deals that are making like $40 million or whatever it is, right? And they're only going to be there for so long. And you got this really solid young core. You mentioned Bub Carrington, RC. You mentioned Alex Sarr. I don't know if you mentioned Bilal Coulibaly. You throw Tre Johnson. Like those are 4 high picks, talented guys that kind of fit together the right way. And you got these vets there to kind of show them the road. Is that what Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum are going to be doing? What is that dynamic, Henson, between those veterans and those young guys going to end up being in a situation like Washington, who is not quite ready to compete for Eastern Conference championships just yet?
Yeah, I think I've seen situations like that. This front office sit you down and say, hey, look, you see what we're doing. We need you to be a pro, help these guys out, show them the ropes, and that's what Chris is going to do. Chris, who I know personally, he wants to continue his career. He wants to win. So part of that is being a good vet, showing them the ropes, and then playing well. And then he'll be able to get out of there. Hey, he showed you guys how to be pros and going through their day. And I think for a young team, especially when we came in, or when I came in as a young guy, like I had like Zaza Pachulia, who was like, he has no idea the influence he had on me throughout my career. Like Zaza was like 33, 34 years old, staying after practice, working out for an hour after practice, the oldest guy on the team. Hey, you can't do that. Hey, Rook, don't wear that. Dress this way. Hey, so that matters, man. And that kind of propelled me to my next deal. Had I not learned so much from him, and to this day, I thank him. I don't think I would have got to that next deal because I wouldn't have had the professionalism and the tools to navigate. Sissy, we were the worst team in the NBA for a couple of years. So that stuff really matters. And so Tre Johnson's in a good spot with those vets. Chris, who I know, I think Malcolm's there as well. CJ's obviously one of the best in the league. So, yeah, so those guys, I mean, top tier. So I like what Washington's doing.
And we got to add Keyshawn George there as well. I mean, you got the vet guys. Margo Brogdon is class act. You mentioned the other guys. I think for those veteran guys, it's going to be help bring these young guys up, as he said. And for some of these guys that's finishing out their career, if your leadership is the right way, teams tend to reward guys like that with another year or 2 year contract to help further grow these guys. I think the Wizards are doing a really good job of just collecting right guys and bringing in the right vet guys to help these guys. They know they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And if they are, it's going to be led by that group of like Alex Sarr and last year's draft class and with the incoming guys.
RC, you're our resident DC guy. You're from Maryland. Are the Wizards back? Are they back?
No,
are we back
yet. No, we're not back yet. But
we're so far from back.
We're so far from back. Well, first of all, Jeff, let me say this. Back to what? We ain't never been nowhere. Let's be clear. Like, we're going somewhere. We're starting to go somewhere. We're like back to what? West Unseld? No, we're not back to West Unseld. We're starting to crank this thing up and go somewhere. Let's start with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think he's a good piece. I don't think he's a star, but again, other than Cooper Flagg in this draft, who are we pegging to be a number one guy? I mean, Dylan Harper went number 2, and certainly if he stays in San Antonio, he's not going to be a number one guy. You're looking at this point in this draft for guys who can be long-term starters and help you. And you're going to need more in Washington, and you're going to have all this cap space. The question is, can you lure free agents, or are you going to have to overpay for guys like they've done and make kind of poor decisions with the Kyle Kuzmas of the world and, obviously Jordan Poole and some of these guys. So we'll see what happens. But I like Tre Johnson.
Have you sent the Venmo request to John Martin yet?
Yeah, I already texted him. I said, you have my Venmo, John. You have my Venmo. So I'm expecting I'm expecting to be able to buy a few more mango carts because of one John Martin.
Can you do this for me? Please do this. As soon as you get that money, right? Go out and buy $200 worth of mango carts and take a picture of it.
I'm gonna load up my new fridge. Load them up. The fridge will just be full of mango carts. Nothing else. Just mango carts.
How many mango carts do you think you can get for $200? I'd say 120. I bet you can get 10, 12 packs for $200.
My fridge isn't that big. All right, this house is small.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, so we have the Pelicans on the clock here at number 7. What do you think here, Henson? They Zion's still there.
Fears.
They just made a trade to get Jordan Poole. It's Fears.
It's Jeremiah Fears. Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremiah Fears.
Henson, now it's best talent, right? Best player available. Yeah. He's your best player available. You just got rid of season. Yeah, that's a good pick for them. And after Fears, like now it's going to be interesting, right? Because Maluach, Derik Queen, Carter Bryant, like who I don't love, but I see why, right? He has the size intangibles. He looks like a pro. So this is what I'm excited about now because the guys that we thought were the guys are off the board.
Randolph, what do you make of this Fears as a player? He was young. He reclassified. He turned 18 in October. He's 2 months older than Cooper Flagg. He bet on himself. It worked. He was one of the most productive guys in the SEC, but he was not efficient at all. Turned the ball over too much. The passing reads aren't quite there. Shot 44% at the rim, under 30% from three. What do you make of him as a long-term prospect here in the NBA?
Rob, but all the intangibles are there. What he has that you can't teach is extra gear. There's not many guys as fast as he is with the ball in his hands. And when you see it on the floor, you see it. Sometimes, again, he is moving faster than his mind is processing things, and he gets himself in trouble. But when he's dialed in, again, you see the upside. You see what he can become. With the ball in his hand, he can go 94 feet as quick as anyone in basketball. So that's the one thing that's going to jump off from day one. He's going to learn how to play. He's going to have to get physically stronger. He'll be in a situation there again. I think the Pelicans are headed for a reset eventually here, and I think he's found himself in a really good situation.
Henson, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't. All I can think about is like when I think about him, he's got some blank to him. Like I like he's got a little bit of that in him. He's got some shit to him. So that's what I like about him. That's what I like about him.
When you watch him, Rob, he's one of those guys. He doesn't have to make a ton of moves and shake. I heard somebody made the comp that he was Kyrie. He doesn't have to do that because with the ball in his hand, he just goes. He gets to point A to point B. He doesn't need to spend a whole lot of time fakes. His game is just boringly good because he has that type of speed. The shooting will come. His mechanics are fine. The game will slow down for him as he gets more reps in the league. I think he's gone to a really good situation. This is an upside pick, and his upside's really high. Good size. Brother has helped him out tremendously. This guy's came out of nowhere, like you said. Bet on himself, and everyone sees the potential of what this kid brings.
Shout out to his chain.
Can I give you a double chain? And RC, tell me if I'm off on this one or not. But I heard this from another NBA guy, Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague with Jeremiah Fears. Do you like it or not?
I like it because he's bigger. Jeff had really good speed. I think he's probably a little faster with the ball in his hand than Jeff was, but I like the comp. I do. I think that's a good comp. Will he improve his jump shot? All of those things, that just depends on the kid, the individual, how bad does he want it. Now we're going to learn a lot about him. But everything that you've seen about him, you're going to love. I think that's a really good comp. I'm not big on some of the comps get crazy. I actually love that. I think that's a really good pick.
Sure. Yeah, we have guys that are getting picked like 12th, getting compared to Michael Jordan, saying, he's going to be a combination of Anthony Davis and Kevin Garnett. I will say, Kendrick Perkins the other day said that Cooper Flagg's comparison was if Kevin Garnett and LeBron James had a baby. And like, I actually thought that kind of made like it's a weird comp, but it made some sense to me. Like it's not the craziest thing that I've ever heard. Also, do you think Jeremiah Fears is going to be as funny on the podcast that he eventually has as Jeff Teague is on the Club 520? That's the funniest show on YouTube.
Fears' father might be. Fears' father's a riot. He's terrific. I like the Fears pick. I mean, again, I think at this point, you're taking a guy with upside. You're taking a guy with upside, and ultimately, it's going to take some time. He could play some. Honestly, wouldn't shock me if he spent some time in the G League next year, just to get reps against guys that aren't physically going to. I mean, look at him on TV. He's like 170 pounds soaking wet. He is going to have a hard time physically with the league next year, but by the time his second contract rolls around, he's going to be a really, really good player.
Yeah. So I have a wager with a buddy of mine. I have Dylan Harper at plus 100. He has Jeremiah Fears at plus 125. I put $500 on Jeremiah Fears, Dylan Harper making an all-star team before Jeremiah Fears. My 500 to his 400. You think that's a good bet or no?
Who bet you?
Who was that with?
You said a buddy of yours bet you that Jeremiah Fears will make. Wow.
Make an all-star team before Dylan Harper.
If anybody other than his dad, he's got to be one of the dumbest people I know. He's just giving you money. Your friend's an idiot. Hey, Rob, you need better friends, Rob, because that friend's an idiot. Like, come on, man. Check this out.
All right, number 8 pick, Khaman Maluach is still on the board. It's the first of Brooklyn's 367 first-round picks that they have in this draft. Maluach is a big guy, a rim protector, a shot blocker, so we got to ask.
Got to go big.
What's that?
Got to go big. I think go big.
All right. What do you make of him? Like, what do you make of Maluach, Henson?
You know, being a big man, like, yes, I do love him. I think at this point in the draft, he's good for it, but I kind of he disappeared kind of down the stretch a little bit in those big time games where he was probably one of the more physically imposing threats. Like, I think he's a great player, and you know the upside. He's young, big, but I'm not as high as him as other guys. But I think for the Nets, I think all they have is Claxton down there. I think that's a perfect spot for him to kind of develop, and you know they need him, so he'll be able to play and get reps while also, you know, learning the game. And you know, he just started playing basketball. So I think this is a perfect spot for him. I like him as a player, but I'm not as high as everybody else is on him. But I do like him. A bigger amount is just kind of here. I don't know about that one.
I'm very high on him because I think he's
Egor Demin's going to 8.
What? Yeah. Wow.
He's good though. He's good.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Egor's good. Like, when I saw him play, he was in it like he had a different little gear to him. Like when I watch college basketball, guys that stand out on the screen, he stood out. He stood out. When I'm just watching the game, sitting back, he stands out. So I'm not mad at that.
I like the pick. I like both picks. I like the Maluach pick because I think offensively he has a little bit more than what you think he does, John. I just think the Duke team was so talented. That wasn't his role. Yeah. But what he does bring as a 7-footer is the ability to guard and switch, which is gold in today's NBA.
So I think that this Egor Demin pick is really, really interesting because he was one of the guys where you either loved him or you were like, I don't think that this guy's a top 20 pick. It didn't seem like there was really in between with him. He's one of the better passers that you're going to find. He's a jumbo point guard at 6'8", but he's also turnover prone. He's not a great shooter. He's not a great athlete. He's not the most physical guy in the world. Like we watched someone like an SGA who's kind of like a similar physical profile, right, Henson, be able to thrive because he's so good at creating contact and creating space and being on balance. And I don't think that's the Egor Demin. We saw Tyrese Halliburton, similar physical profile. As good as he is because of the way that he can pass, the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over, and oh, by the way, he seems to make every single 35-footer that's important. Every big shot from 35 feet, Tyrese Halliburton made. What do you make of his fit at the next level? Is he good enough to be that kind of lead number one guy?
I don't think you draft him thinking he's going to be your lead. I mean, he's a guard that can get people involved, and you know he's kind of polarizing, but he's twitchy, right? He's twitchy. Like he gets guys around him better. He's got size. I mean, he is what the NBA wants, right? Size, playmaking ability. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Austin Rivers thing, right? If you want to play in the NBA, you got to be a straight line drive, make the pass, make a shot. That's what the NBA is these days. I think he fits under that profile. I kind of love this pick. When I'm like starting to just kind of look at how he looks in the Nets uniform with what they have around him, they can kind of build out the roster kind of around him if he becomes the guy that they think he can be in the top 10 pick. I mean, if you look at all the drafts, once you get past about 6, it gets a little wonky, right? So I like this pick for them.
Rob, what he has is he has positional size. You can get away with a lack of strength when you have positional size. Like Fears is not he's not a big point guard. He has good size. His advantage is speed. You can negate speed, with some strength. But when you're 6'9", handling the ball and you can get the spots, then you don't have to be as strong. He's going to eventually need to physically get out, but he gives you a guy that can put it on the floor, make shots, and make plays. He's a really good passer. And again, at 6'8", 6'9", you can win a lot of games with guys like that. And give him some time. I mean, nobody's saying he's a franchise guy, but he has a really good skill set in positional size, and that gives you position flexibility.
Here's the thing that it doesn't really make a ton of sense to me you have all of these first round picks later in the draft, right? And Demin's not a guy. I just feel like you could have gotten him later. It's kind of similar to the Kon Knueppel thing, where like I feel like you could have traded back and gotten him later, especially with all of those other picks that you have available to package together. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Goodman, what do you make of Egor?
I thought it was a reach. I thought it was a reach. Yeah. That's all. Now, again, could he be a very, very good player? Absolutely. And they got 4 more picks here to work with. But I think, again, like you said, Rob, sometimes you reach. I think Sean Marks did that here, and he might have been able to. I mean, the hard part is their next picks aren't until much later in the draft. So, if you didn't get him here, you weren't going to get him at 19. He's not going to be around at that point. So you take him here, and maybe you package a couple more of those picks up, get back into that 14 range, and get somebody else.
Well, we talked about size, right? If they're picking this later, I'm sure that they'll be able to get their big later in the draft. So maybe that's kind of their thinking. Like, look, Maluach or wasn't high enough on the board for them to, they felt like then, Egor was a guy, and they'd be able to kind of supplement towards the back end of the draft, which they will be able to do.
It's still a lot to like, though. I mean, you get past this, guys, then where were you going to go? I mean, where are you going to go? There's not a lot of guys. When we talk, like I said, positional size at 6'9", put it on the floor, good passer, can make shots. As a ball handler, you can't. Where are you going to get that from? And you look at anybody else left here, that's what you're dealing with. You're looking at, all right, where do you go if it's not him?
Yeah, maybe they just didn't love Maluach as well. I think anyone that watched the Final Four game and saw a 7'1" dude that's getting picked in the top 10 not get a single rebound against that Houston front line, I don't know. Hence, I mean,
listen, but one thing that translates is rebounding, right? like in defending, and yes, he's a good rebounder and defender, but I just, for me, I don't know. I didn't love where, right now, I like him 9 to 14-ish. We can do that. But when I start seeing him in the top 7, top 5, I'm like, because of the center position is not as valuable as it used to be as well. So, it's just a different type of game nowadays.
All right, I believe that means we have the Raptors on the board at number 9. Goodman, I don't know if you over there. You have to look on your face that you're getting shit done. You have to look on your face where you haven't looked at the camera once in the last hour, which means something's happening over there. You have a dry erase big board over there that you're not showing.
Party on my second mango
the bigs
card.
are kicking in. The bigs are kicking in. He texting John Martin where's money. He went back to 1,000 right now. That's what he did. He was 200 when he
every night, baby.
Back up to 1,000.
For you guys, I think I'm reading this. It says reports say that Ace did not want to go to Utah, but Utah drafted him anyway. So yeah, RC.
There's no question. No question. You didn't go to NBA workouts to go to Utah? Hell no. Listen. Let's be clear. Nobody wants to go to Utah. That's not a place. That's the most least desirable location to get drafted to. You just don't. When you're 19, 20 years old and about to be handed millions of dollars, that's not where you want to be to spend your money. That's all.
Hey, Goodman, who's going to enjoy Utah more next season, Ace Bailey or Ace DeBonsa?
Oh, DeBonsa for sure. DeBonsa for sure. Are you kidding me? Ace DeBonsa is making as much as a 16th pick or the top 10 pick. He might as well be there.
That's actually AJ. His dad is Ace, but they're both making money. Trust me.
Yeah.
They're both
Collin
loving something.
Murray-Boyles.
That was the most obvious pick that could have happened. We're talking about the Raptors here, guys. We're talking about the Raptors. Nobody likes big athletic football guys more than the Raptors.
Yes, in Masai, I trust. Look, I trust the process. I'm not saying anymore. I trust Masai. Murray-Boyles, obviously, I'm not. What does he do? Where is he going to go? But the Raptors have so many pieces. Like, they can afford to swing and miss on a guy maybe that they see potential in. And then when you, like I said, start looking at this board. Where do you go? Like, it's starting to get a little shady right now for teams that maybe want to impact players. So, I think this is going to happen a lot more right now. And some guys are dropping as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, like Carter Bryant, Derik Queen. Those are guys who are projected to go above these guys.
None of us were all in on Collin Murray-Boyles, right? He's an undersized four-man. He doesn't shoot it great. He's a good passer. He's a below-the-rim guy to some degree. I think he measured at, I'll tell you right now, he measured at 6'6.5" without shoes, 240. Good player, but do you take him this high? I don't know if you do. If you're Toronto, a small market team, taking a guy that, again, is probably going to be a nice piece for a while. And again, a good player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not killing him here. I'm just saying this was a little bit of a reach.
I'm going to make the argument for him here, and I get what all you guys are saying, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? You already got Scotty Barnes, who is the can be that initiator and is already, what he's going to be as a defender, right? And you already got what's the who they just trade for from the Pelicans? Brandon Ingram, right? Yeah, Brandon Ingram, my bad. Yeah, Brandon Ingram. And you are a team that's kind of prided yourself on defense and toughness and physicality. And you're adding a guy that he won't be a ball stopper. The ball is going to move. He's known for what he can be as a passer. He's known for what he can be as a defender. He's going to fit into the culture there. And I think if you're trying to be that, we're going to win games with toughness and physicality and defense and switchability and all of those different things, I get it. I get it with Collin Murray-Boyles there. You're betting on the fact that he's going to develop something of a handle. You're betting on the fact that maybe that jump shot comes along. You're betting on what he can be as a short roller, but basically you're saying we're going to switch everything. We got all these 6'8" guys that are with all this length, and you're just not going to be able to run anything against us. I get it. It makes sense. Maybe he turns into Bam Adebayo 2.0, maybe not.
And I'm looking at the roster. I mean, it kind of clears up the picture, right? Like you've got Podol, but you don't really have a guy you can go small ball with that can slide to the 5 and defend. So maybe that's the thinking. Hey, look, we need a guy that can play ball, get down there and be our small ball center that can guard bigger guys. Maybe that's where he plugs in at. Like, hey, look, we got a guy that we plug the 4-5, defend behind Podol if he's not able to, be effective in these playoff games. Because the Raptors have the roster to do some things next year. So this is not a bad spot for him as a top 10 pick. I think he gets minutes right off the bat when I'm looking at the roster. I think he gets a chance, which is all you can ask for, as a top 10 pick. Just get a chance to get out there and get your feet wet. They've got – this is a good place for him. I'm looking at the roster and the makeup. I'm not mad at that.
And think about this too. Cooper Flagg went to the West. Dylan Harper went to the West. Jason Tatum ain't playing next year. Tyrese Halliburton ain't playing next year. Those are two of the better teams in the East. Like it's not like you're looking at a murderer's row in the Eastern Conference. Like if they think that this is going to be the piece that kind of takes them from being good to, okay, we got a chance to be a top 4 seed in the East, which means you got a chance to be able to get yourself to the NBA Finals. Look, you said it earlier, Henson. In Masai, I trust, right?
I listen. If Masai, look, I'm gonna tell you, I got a soft spot for Masai. I think Denver had the 21st pick. I walked into the room for the interview. He said, "Yeah, we're picking you. Get to us. Have a nice day." He knows his stuff.
Oh, listen, and they got a good roster of guys. I mean, he's obviously there for his defensive versatility. Offensively, again, this is a guy that shot 26% behind the 3-point line. I mean, with Ingram there, R.J. Barrett there, also. I mean, they got Scotty. We talked about perimeter wise. They're there. Like you said, maybe he asks another guy that can switch to them. He's a piece that he's something in him. I'm just surprised with a guy his size going this high. I'm high on him, but I didn't think he'd go 10th in the draft or 9th in the draft.
So, are we going to have to pretend like it's actually Houston that is picking here at number 10? Do we have to?
They put the hat on him. Yeah, they're going to pretend. Yeah, they're going to
It's
the dumbest thing ever that they haven't figured this thing out by now because of the CBA or whatever. But like, it makes it look ridiculous. I remember when I covered the draft for ESPN and I was there, even the players were like, what are we doing? Why am I putting on this hat? I know I'm not going there.
Well, you can't finalize a trade until a player is there.
Right.
So technically speaking, you can't put a hat on them. Technically speaking, you can't put a hat on them because they have to go. Like when you get traded in the draft,
get out of here.
You got to go to the back room and you got to sit down and you got to wait for the trade to be finalized through the league office. And if the trade doesn't get finalized, that's not your hat. So I mean,
to speak on it with Rob, Jeff is saying, I think it messes up the moment for the kid in a sense too. This is the draft. I want to go put the hat on the team that I'm actually going to. I know what it's like to be a part of a draft day trade. I was traded on draft day. So
were you?
I understand. Yeah, I was.
How did that go?
I got the call. I got the call from Portland, but it was Detroit's pick, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna make a trade with Detroit, and we're gonna have them draft you, and then we're gonna trade." So Detroit drafted me, and then essentially traded me to Portland. So I understand how that process works. But if you're there and you want the hat, you just for your moment. If you want to go there and be a part of the experience and sit in the draft room, you want to get that right, because I wouldn't have wanted to sit there as I'm getting traded trying to figure that out, and now everybody's looking at me in that moment. I chose to be home, be with my family, and I wanted. But when it was happening, I was walking around. I had got up and was just walking around, outside. They had to call me back in the house to talk to the GM and coach and everybody afterwards. Like, come back in here.
Maluach's going here. Phoenix.
To Phoenix, to Houston, to Brooklyn, to where are we going?
Right?
Where's he going?
Phoenix is big. You're confusing me.
I can't keep it straight, man. I can't keep it straight. I'm looking at the TV. The TV says Houston. At least it says proposed trade now on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's a positional need, though. I like that. That's a positional need for them. That's good. I like that for them.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Right? I mean, you've got plenty of wings. You got no shortage of wings on this team. You needed a big that, frankly, doesn't need the basketball and can protect the rim, because a lot of those wings aren't the best defensive players right now.
Tried with Nurkic, you tried with Richardson. Now you get Maluach in. You can see what happens with that. I don't think it's the end of the world if it doesn't work out for Phoenix. I think that's a great pick for them. I think it's a great pick. Good start to the trade. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Now it gets interesting to me. Now.
I'm not quite sold on Maluach. Can I just say that? I'm not. I get the size and I get it in theory, but I understand he hasn't played for a while, and I remember what happened when South Sudan played Team USA and he made all those threes, right? I get it. I get the thought process, but I do think at some point you need to be able to have a level of physicality when you're playing the five in the NBA, and I just can't erase what happened in the Final Four against Houston out of my mind. The Houston bigs just completely outworked him and outbodied him, and he just did not have the lower body strength to be able to hold any kind of position. And I don't know how that works in the NBA.
And South Sudan's been cranking them out, prospects after prospect. There hasn't really been a South Sudan guy to push himself at a high level. The last guy maybe potentially was Thon Maker, who I played with, but it's interesting. Yeah.
I forgot about Thon Maker.
Hey, listen, that was Giannis Antetokounmpo's one-on-one cone. That's why Giannis was so good. He had Thon Maker guard him every day.
Oh man,
I like the pick. I'm higher on.
You're always good.
I'm higher on him than you guys are. I think if he gets into a good situation, I like what he could become. Obviously, it's a pick of development down the road, down the line with him. The question becomes, I think, in Phoenix with all the wings and everything you have, do you keep that together, or do you just completely break the thing down? But he's got scores there. They're obviously a wing-oriented team.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at 10, if he becomes a solid player for your organization, which I think he could become, I think this is a great pick. This is a good kind of value for him as well.
I'll tell you what he can do, John. He can do everything Derek Lively does.
Hey, before you say that, I bet he doesn't stay with Phoenix, because this just came from Shams. Literally at the same time that Goodman broke that Phoenix was drafting Khaman Maluach, Shams broke that the Hornets are trading Mark Williams to the Suns for the number 29 pick tonight and a future first rounder. So in the span of about 30 seconds, Mark Williams and Khaman Maluach both are on their way to Phoenix to play for the Suns. And
that's it. There's got to be more in the package, right? There's got to be more in that package, right?
No, the number 29 pick and the 2029 first round pick.
No, there's got to be.
Williams, yeah. That's what we look. When you get traded for 2 first round picks, that's what we call a bag trade.
Chance.
Shout out Mark Williams.
No
Stay healthy. Stay healthy, Mark.
I mean, if that's true, then so Phoenix would give up 2 first round picks, according to Shams, for Mark Williams.
Yep.
Then Brian Gregory, the new GM, should be fired now, not at the end of the night. Immediately, Brian Gregory should be fired immediately by Matt Ishbia. Seriously,
hey, look,
right away.
You give up 2 first round picks. Hey, yeah, you get 2 first round picks. Mark
It's got to be something else to it, right? It's got to be something else.
That's what I said. There's got to be something else. Yeah, there's got to be something else.
There's got to be something else to that.
Maybe they're getting.
They don't like Mark Williams, do you?
We're talking about Mark Williams that failed the physical for the Lakers. The same Mark Williams.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Same one.
No,
yeah.
it's something.
There aren't 2 Mark Williamses.
Yeah. Let's just I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt on that. I think it's more to that trade. Somebody's involved in that,
or someone's drafting. It's a 3-way. Someone might be drafted for 29. Something like that.
Yep. All right. The 11th pick, we have Portland on the clock.
It's getting sketchy. It's getting real sketchy here. I don't know where they are.
Where the Blazers need.
Ooh,
they already made some moves. They've already been in the mix. They got Drew Holiday.
I think they need some type of wing. Carter Bryant.
But they got
Carter Bryant.
Don't they have still? They still
got Grant, but Grant's going to get out of there. They got Grant. They got. I think they go. Yeah, I think you got to go. You got to go Carter Bryant. Maybe Derik Queen.
I like that there. I like Derik Queen.
Yeah.
I like Derik Queen a lot.
Kind of like those guys, Klingon and Queen, are 2 different players. They could, it's a good compliment to each other. You get 2 different type of styles of center, but yeah, you got to go Queen or Carter Bryant just based off the boards.
I think it'll be Carter Bryant. I mean, you got Aiden out there. You got DeAndre Aiden out there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Carter Bryant might be the guy.
And you still got Donovan Klingon, so they're not going but so big. I like Derik Queen, but did you get a big who doesn't stretch it?
They got Klingon.
They got Klingon as well. Like, did you get a big like that? He's not a stretch guy. Queen isn't a stretch guy. He's skilled, but he's not a stretch guy.
And Portland's been trying to draft that kind of wings with size that defend. If you look at their roster, so Carter Bryant fits.
I think he's ready to help them catching and shooting right away. Could he ultimately develop into something like a 3-and-D guy? But catching and shooting threes is what he does. That'll be something with the talent. Now this is time for Sharp. This is a time for Scoot. It's just these guys' time to shine, and obviously play with Drew. Drew can help lead these guys as well.
Cedric Coward.
What? 11?
He was. But he was up there, then he dropped.
A 3-and-D guy. I like it as a 3-and-D guy.
Wow. How about that story? How about that
11.
story? Cedric Coward, who plays 2 years at Eastern Washington, the Big Sky, plays 6 games before getting hurt at Washington State this past year. Can't even do 5-on-5, like can't do full workouts right now because he's still not completely cleared and healthy. But he is a 3-and-D dude who shoots the hell out of it. Plays hard as shit, can guard some, can guard more than some. He can guard.
Yes, he can guard.
And he was the mystery man. He was the mystery man of this draft, and I can't wait to see his reaction here when they show it on ESPN here in a minute of when Cedric Coward gets drafted.
He definitely is a 3-and-D guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's projected lottery-ish. Right? I mean, maybe a couple spots higher than we thought, but
a wide range.
I remember seeing his name up towards the top 12 earlier. He dropped a little bit. So it's not a big reach considering what's left on the board. I mean,
I just think he's an unbelievable story. Like this kid
Great story.
started out as a Division III player, right? Transfers to Eastern Washington, follows his coach from Eastern Washington to Washington State. When Washington State moves from the Pac-12 to the WCC, plays 6 games, beats up on a bunch of low major competition, and then all of a sudden he's the 11th pick in the draft. Like nobody, Goodman, we had this dude on our WCC Media Day show last year, and we had no idea who he was. There was no way in the world that I thought talking to that dude.
I still don't remember.
He was going to end up being. I didn't know he was going to be the 11th pick in the draft. I thought he was going to be the president of the United States, right? Like this dude is one of the most mature human beings that I've ever interviewed. I don't say that.
It looks like he's going to Memphis. Shams is reporting it looks like he's going to Memphis, Coward. But whatever the case, the dude's the number 11 pick, high upside, a little bit of a mystery, which for Memphis, why not? Why not take a shot?
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you what, when you got some of the questions that they have in that locker room down there, I don't think getting a kid that's as mature as Cedric Howard makes a lot of sense.
And again, you know what you're getting, right? You know what you're getting.
Oh, do you? That's my question, Randolph. Do you know what you're getting?
I don't know if you do. Right?
Because he played 6 games.
I'm saying, Jeff, you know what you're getting. You're getting a good kid. You're getting a 3-and-D kid. I don't have to sit there and get an offensive guy thinking I got to teach him how hard he needs to play, how he needs to defend it. He's going to come in ready to defend, and then he's a guy. You're not running your offense through him. He's going to space the floor, take corner threes, transition guard, sometimes guard the other team's best player at times. I mean, that's the kind of guy he's willing to be when he comes through. Like now you're starting to, you draft guys that fit. He's a guy that can fit with any team because he's one of the better two-way players in this draft.
On paper, but I just, the thing that I can't wrap my head around, and I don't mean this as a knock on him at all. And more than anything, I mean it as he made the right decision to not play at Duke and to go pro, is that we just haven't seen him at this level. And it's not like he proved it in the combine because he's recovering from the shoulder injury that ended the season after 6 games. So you look at the physical tools, you look at what he could be on paper, you look at what he can be as a switchable guy, 6'6", 7'2" wingspan, can shoot it, right? I get all that. But at the same time, I think he is the biggest mystery when it comes to this year's NBA draft.
I won't go that far. I'll let you guys go.
No,
yes
I'm just.
No. Yes and no. Obviously, Duke was going to take him, so that means something there. But again, I think if you watch the film, even though if it was only 6 games, you're looking at a guy that's got the physical tools and he can guard. You're going to get a very, very good defender. Now he guarded a lot of the guys he guarded were actually in the post, not in the perimeter. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, at his size, he's going to have to guard the perimeter a little bit more, a lot more in the league. But a high IQ guy, a guy that his coach David Riley compares a little bit to in his makeup, not in his game necessarily, but in his makeup to like a Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler type because of his toughness, because of his willingness to want to be an elite defender.
He wants to know what you guys think of BJ Edgecombe to the Sixers.
I like it.
Sixers going to be okay. Sixers going to be all right.
Should buy you floor seats. Your dad should be buying you floor seats to take you to the game.
Yeah, they're cheap now. I can actually afford them, Randall. They're cheap now. I can actually afford them.
But the other thing I add, Jeff, is he's a 40% three-point shooter, right? He's a 3-and-D guy. And now you're starting to get to that point in the draft. I know what I'm getting when I draft this guy. He'll be on a roster. So when you start talking about some of these other guys going forward, who are you going to pick right now that you feel that comfortable in to say, hey, I got a 6'6" guard that's going to shoot the lights out of it and that can defend and guard and physically is ready to play. He checks those boxes. I think he just checks more boxes than guys are willing to give him credit for.
Yeah, and you're just starting to see this point of draft, like you said, where, wing, defender, size, guard multiple positions, shoot the ball. That's what the finals were, right?
And this, John, too.
The other number 12, Noah Asenge goes number 12 to the Chicago Bulls.
Size, length, athleticism, shoots the ball. Like it's a common
I
theme.
thought there was zero part of me that thought you were going to be able to pronounce his name correctly, Goodman. Zero part of me.
Did I get
got
it?
it.
Did I get it?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Wikipedia.
I nailed it.
There you go.
All right.
You nailed it. You nailed it. I took some notes on him, guys. I'm going to break this down. I'm going to pretend. I'm going to act like I'm the expert here. He's French. He's young. He's the second youngest player in this draft to Cooper Flag. He's younger than Jeremiah Fears and raw. He's a defensive playmaker, but not a guy that tracks right now as a good defender. Right? He can block some shots, but he's not keeping anybody in front of him. He played in Germany in the Bundesliga for Radio Farm Ulm, but he left after Game 3 of the finals in the Bundesliga against Bayern Munich. They play in the championship. It's Game 5. It's 5-game series. They play in Game 5 tomorrow at 2:00 Eastern time. If anyone's interested in watching, it's on ESPN Plus. And he was teammates over there with another potential first-round pick in Ben Saraf. That's all I got. 6'10", 6'11" wingspan. Not the kind of length that we see out of a guy like let's just say John Henson. So I don't know. At the Bulls, it feels like you're just kind of getting another. Who's the dude they got last year that you love, the 11th pick? Goodman. I'm blanking on his name.
Matas.
He's going to be good too. He's going to be good.
Yeah, he is. I mean, you got to roll the dice if you're Chicago, because unfortunately they can't get free agents, which still shocks the hell out of me that the Bulls can't attract big time free agents, but they just can't. So at this point, you've got to do it drafting and developing and hoping you can retain those guys. And Matas, they just kind of gave him playing time last year, and he got better by the second half of the season. And I would assume this kid will be much of the same. And the way they're trying to play fits. Billy Donovan is trying to get up and down. They're playing fast. They want to be athletic. The big thing when I talk to a couple guys about this kid, Noah Senge, again, long, versatile, can guard, athletic. They question probably his toughness at this point. That's the one thing that a lot of people question was kind of how tough he is right now.
He's going to need to physically grow a little bit too. I mean, which a lot of guys do, but him being a bigger guy, he has the length you're looking for, but he's going to need some time to physically mature.
Goodman, you need to break whoever's going to be picked 13th by Atlanta, because I think that's about all that any of us are going to be able to talk about with Noah Senge. Henson, you watching the YouTube compilations of him before this thing started?
I'm just listen. I told you before the show. I don't know. I have no idea. I was impressed with his size. I didn't know he was that big. Good size.
I asked Brandon about him. My son had played in Germany and had played against him before, and we were talking about him earlier today, and he was kind of like, he was kind of mixed with a mixed bag with him. But again, he's going to a situation there where, and with tempo and pace, with his length can be effective. Can be
so. The Pelicans are trading up to get the 13th pick. They're trading the 23rd pick to the Hawks for the 13th pick in a next year's first round pick, according to Shams, which means that there's someone that they want. Who do we think it is? Let's make some predictions here before Goodman breaks the news. Who do you think it is, Henson? Who are the Pelicans trading up for? They already got Jeremiah.
John Henson big board.
They going to get Carter Bryant?
Let's see here. I think that they are gonna go. Woo!
I think it's got to be Carter Bryant.
Yeah.
You would think.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not Derik Queen, because unless they're going to finally get off of the Zion Williams bandwagon, you kind of got the same guy right there.
They got Trey Murphy. They've got Trey Murphy. They've got
Derik Queen. Derik Queen.
Okay.
Derik Queen. Wow, it is. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I love Derik Queen.
Mhm.
Randolph, I know he's a guy. I got a comp for you. Tell me if you guys think this is crazy. I see a little bit of Naz Reid there, right? They both are the same size. They can shoot it a little bit. Skill with the ball. I think he's a better playmaker than Naz Reid is, but they both have that like weird gait where they don't look like they're the most athletic or most fluid player, but they are the most fluid. They are pretty fluid, and they can kind of find a way to get it done. I also saw someone compare him to Alperen Şengün, and I feel like that's a little bit maybe his ceiling.
It's not horrible.
But
It's not horrible. Yeah. It's not a bad comparison.
If you've seen his size, he's trimmed down a little bit too. His body's starting to change. You can tell he hit the draft and he started trying to, eat better, get in better shape. I think getting
Shed the
himself
baby
prepared in the draft. Yeah, he shedded a bunch of baby fat so far, so he's looking good. It'll be interesting to see what that does for his game, skill set wise. And I think it'll help him more defensively. Offensively, I think it's, he can shoot it. That's not his strength, but the dude can just flat out play. Passes it, handles it for his size. I've been a big fan of his since I saw him in the Jordan Brand game.
You called this, man.
Yeah.
You called it. I'll give you credit. I don't like giving you credit for anything, Randolph. But back in like August, you were like, hey, Rob, let me tell you, Derik Queen. I think it was like the Maryland offseason grades we did. You're like, Derik Queen, I'm telling you, keep an eye out for him. And I was like, oh, okay, that's just a Merlin guy talking about a Merlin guy out here. Like he's something.
Right. Good spot for him too.
What'd you say, John?
No, I said it's a good spot for him because you got Missy. He's the only center on the roster, so he's going to get a chance to play. And Pelicans look like they're doing a little mini rebuild. So, when I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about drafts, I'm like, who is he going to get an opportunity? Which he will. So I think it'll be interesting to see his fit, what the Pelicans allow him to do, what he shows he can do, and what's going to translate. I'm excited to see what he can become because if he becomes what he looked like in college, I mean, we could be talking about him as a guy that dropped too low, right, for certain teams. So he's got that type of talent. He's got game. He's got a bag.
So who's sliding? Who's sliding right now?
Carter Bryant slid. Yeah. Everybody else is pretty much gone.
Right. Bryant and KJ? KJ are the two, you'd say?
Yeah. I mean, Yakashon.
They ain't sliding to get out the lottery. They ain't sliding to get out the lottery, though. Right now, Thomas Bryant could go next to San Antonio. They need wings.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything crazy yet. There've been a couple reaches, but everyone's kind of still within the range that we expect.
They got Harrison Barnes starting RC. What are you talking about?
But they need him for experience. They got wings. You just drafted Harper. You got Castle. You got Vassell. You got guys. You're gonna draft another guy?
Those are little guys. We need some size on that wing.
Like who?
Carter Bryant, 6'8".
Carter Bryant.
Come on, man. Listen.
Hey, look, when you got Wemby and you got De'Aaron Fox out there, what you need is a guy that can be switchable and can knock down, catch and shoot threes. And that
isn't Keldon Johnson gone? Keldon Johnson's gone, right? Or he's still there?
No, he's still there.
He's still there.
He's still there.
They weren't playing. I went to a Spurs game in the Final Four. They need everything.
And Carter Bryant did shoot. He shot 37% as a freshman. So he's a 3-and-D guy. He can make open threes, and he'll get plenty of them if he stands in the damn corner. He'll get plenty of them for this team.
Slide him to the 4. Come to the 4. Let him play down there a little bit.
You talking about San Antonio?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guarantee you, if we're betting again, I'll put a John Martin here. They're going for somebody with size. They're going to pick a big with some size. I don't see them going with another wing.
Joan Beringer. Joan Beringer. I think that's what they're doing.
No, he can't shoot.
It could be.
Can't shoot.
We'll bet an old-fashioned when I see you this year. Old-fashioned. It's old-fashioned.
We're going to bet an old-fashioned. It won't be a wing. If it's a wing, I got you.
Yeah,
could it be like Rasheer Fleming? Could they surprise people and take a kid like St. Joseph's Rasheer Fleming, high upside guy, athletic, long, who's gotten better, and I think he shot 39% from 3 last year.
So do they go Thomas Sorber? Do they slide? Do they reach for do they go Danny Wolf? No. Where are they going?
Danny Wolf would make a lot of sense.
I think Danny Wolf. Maybe a guy like that. I would see Danny Wolf before I'd go. Fleming's is interesting, Jeff, because I agree with you there. I think he has some size and ability to make shots, but I don't know if I see them drafting another 6'6", 6'8" guy.
I mean, Sorber's interesting too because he doesn't shoot a ton of threes, but I think he'll be a guy who'll get better. He's not a great athlete. you got to find somebody up front who's a good complement to Wemby. Like that.
And that's why I think, and that's why I say somebody like Danny Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
A guy with size.
That actually makes sense. You can run ball screens between them like they did with him and Vlad this year. He can shoot it. He can create the space. You're a little less worried about the defensive issues, right? Because, I mean, that's the big question with Danny Wolf. He's going to be able to guard anybody at the NBA level. And if you got Mr. 8 foot standing,
you got the unicorn.
Yeah, you got the unicorn back there. That's kind of not the issue that maybe it would be at a lot of other organizations at this point in time. So I get that. That makes sense.
Looking at, I don't know, man. It's going to be a tricky pick for them. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't think it can be the kid Beringer. I don't know. I mean, I think they need somebody that can help space it. Like you need a shooter. You need a guy who's going to shoot the ball. So to me, again,
I think they get a veteran with that. I think this is a piece you continue to grow with this young group of guys, and you've taken some wings.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you got Harper coming in.
Spurs bottom 20.
It could be the flip. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Span 3-point shooting too. Bottom 10. Bottom 10. Oh.
You got it? Yeah, good. I'm sitting here waiting for it.
I don't know.
Big rock.
I'm trying to update my board here. All right. There are a couple guys. Collin Murray-Boyles and Coward certainly went higher than I expected. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah.
All right, listen, while we wait for the San Antonio pick to come in, let's go to a quick word from our sponsors. On the other side, you will finally get an answer to who the San Antonio Spurs are going to pick with the 14th pick in the 2025 NBA draft.
Fleming's a wolf.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. Welcome to the Field of 68, 2025 NBA draft coverage. And we have breaking news here. Not only has John Martin lost a bet to Jeff Goodman, but Randolph Childress has lost a bet to our John Henson. Carter Bryant, 14th pick, the last member of the lottery crew, is heading to San Antonio as Goodman comes back. He had to refill his mango cards. Carter Bryant, 14th pick, just makes a lot of sense. Goodman, you got a guy that can shoot it. You got a guy that can be versatile. You got a guy that can play the wing. Henson, take your victory lap. Go ahead, man. Let RC know. Tell him who knows ball.
I got him old fashioned.
Yeah, he can't unmute himself. He doesn't know how to unmute himself.
You got to unmute yourself. All that and you're muted. All that and you're muted.
He should
that
be
was
muted.
his victory lap.
I think if you just look at the board, right? I think that was the play. That's the best talent available for the moment. And then when I looked at their 3-point percentage, they're bottom of the league when I look at their wings, I looked up their roster, right? You got Barnes, you got Champagny, guys that don't necessarily move the needle. HB is a good veteran presence, but he was starting for them. So that's not a long-term fix. I think Carter Bryant's the right pick for the moment for this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait. I like my bourbon expensive too.
All right, what are we getting? What are we getting here? What are we getting?
I might just stick the Angels in here. I'm gonna let them live.
Hey, it's
San
an old
Antonio.
fashioned. It ain't but so much he can do.
What San Antonio did here, guys, what they're doing is just stockpiling talent. That's what they're doing here, and they'll figure out how it fits after. But you know what? If you're San Antonio, look at where you were 2 years ago before Wemby came. You have very little talent. Now you got Wemby. You got De'Aaron Fox at the point. You got Steph Castle, the Rookie of the Year. You got Dylan Harper. You got Carter Bryant. You don't just have talent. Like, you got dudes who can go. I mean, think about it. De'Aaron Fox, probably the fastest guy with the ball in the NBA now that Ish Smith's getting a little bit older. And these guys can go with him.
I mean, I tell you, too.
I don't know about the suit, but, I don't know about the suit.
I'm a big Devin Vassell fan, too, man. I think I like what he is and who he is and what he brings to that team, too. So he just comes in and fits. I don't know. It's going to be tough for him to probably crack the rotation and play as much early, but coming in, catching and shooting at his size, I think he's a good fit. Again, like you said, the Spurs stockpiling talent. Be interested to see who else they add and what they add going forward with their roster and free agency as well.
Yeah, the good news is that now that he is officially a lottery pick, he might be able to actually afford a shirt to go underneath that suit jacket that he's wearing. He spent all that money on the chain. You can't spend enough money on to buy a shirt to go underneath that suit. You think I could pull off that look? What do you think?
He's got the Van Cleef.
You got to shave your chest first, Rob. You probably got all that. You got to shave your chest when you wear that. Rob got that afro coming out of his suit if he wore that. Nobody want to see all that. Nobody want to see all that.
You know what? I gotta you go with the mustache, you go with the chest hair. That's the look, man. It's coming back in style, Randolph.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this: where does San Antonio now sit for you, right? Because where it'll be a new coaching situation there, but you got Wemby, who's going to be healthy. We hope. You got De'Aaron Fox, who should be healthy. You got Dylan Harper. You now have Carter Bryant. Steph Castle is going to be back. Where do they kind of stand in the tier of Western Conference teams? I mean, we know how good the Thunder are. We know they can be, Henson. How good do the Spurs look when they stack up to some of those other teams out west?
I think next year is a year of being competitive. I don't necessarily think, championship tier or even the top tier of the West, but you become competitive. You start to build your identity and what you are. And you try to be really good before Wemby's extension, right? Or before you have to pay him all this money. So at least you can kind of figure out where to go. Because obviously I think that extension, knock on wood, is set in stone. And okay, we're going to have to pay Fox again. Well, does Harper come? So next year's a year of feeling it out, but you want to be competitive, make the playoffs, and continue just to ascend up the West. I think this is a 2 or 3 year plan right now that they've got on their, on the table, and then see where you land.
This is a team that lost Fox. They lost Wemby. If this team is healthy, let's be clear. This is a playoff team. We don't know what the ceiling is because does Wemby take a step, right? We got with another off season with him. He's going to take a step and get better. So I'm not ready to say that they're championship ready, but I think they, a great year for them would be in the playoffs and maybe making it to a second round playoff team. You didn't make these trades and bring in these caliber players to with the second pick and keep the second pick and draft a guy like Dylan Harper just to say, hey, just stockpiling talent. They have young, really good players in Fox and the Unicorn kind of leading this thing. I expect San Antonio to be a NBA playoff team. I mean, I don't think there's anything about that. Obviously, they need to be healthy, and you can say that about everyone. But the upside of this young group, they're going to be fun to watch, man. They're going to be fun to watch. I think they got to get one guy. Yeah, they got to get one guy, I think, physically to help out Wembanyama. I think that would be the one guy. And that'll come with a veteran signing or someone of that nature. They stockpile, their guards and their drafts and picks like that. I think they're fine with their backcourt. Just somebody to help protect him, but healthy. I mean, there's not. You take away OKC and maybe Denver. How many teams? And you're going to say the Lakers, but how many teams are you going to put ahead of them right now, when they're healthy in the West?
Not many. Many. Yeah.
Yeah, not many at all. One of the teams that I do think will have above them is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who is picking 15th. Randolph, you made an interesting comment earlier. I kind of want to circle back to. At some point, you can't just blame players. You can't just blame stars. You have to kind of look at some of the organizations and say, hey, it's not working with this franchise. And I think Oklahoma City's one where you don't say that at all. What was it? 3 years ago, they won 24 games. They drafted SGA. They got him going. They drafted Chet Holmgren. They drafted Jalen Williams. They built through the draft.
Sorber.
They traded for
Thomas
SGA.
Sorber.
Thomas Sorber to
Sorber.
the Oklahoma City Thunder. How does Sorber, another guy, Georgetown, how does he fit in with what the Thunder are looking for, Randolph?
He won't play right away. I mean, I don't know how he's cracked the rotation. I mean, how does he get off the bench and be a part of something like that? They're so young. They're so deep. You got to run it back. But he's coming to a culture that's big on development. The small market teams, you draft well, you got time to develop these guys. Sorber is kind of a guy, again, you love what upside and what he can bring, but I'm not, he's not, at best, he's going to be a backup to those guys. I just think it's going to take him some time to adjust to what their championship window is right now. And that would be a lot of asking for him, even with the 15th pick in the draft. I like what he brings. I like who he is. Did a hell of a job for Georgetown. His growth. No one saw this coming from him. I don't know. Maybe you guys did. I didn't see this. I'm a big Ed Cooley fan and what he does there. Had a great year for Georgetown. But that's, you're trying. We're talking about going to the NBA champion here. Outside of maybe Cooper Flag, I don't think there's anyone in this draft that would go to OKC and get extended minutes. But he's going to a really good situation, obviously, and a team that's potentially starting their dynasty with their youth. The second youngest NBA championship team, in the history of the league. So they're just going to draft as guys start. They can't sign everybody. So as they start losing guys, that's when you see these type of picks kind of come in. But bide their time, continue to develop so they can keep that thing going. They got it figured out in OKC.
Is this going to be a dynasty? Are we talking about the Thunder dynasty coming up here, Goodman?
No. They said that about the Celtics last year. They've said it about, I feel like, every team that's won over the last few years. So no, but I like this Sorber pick because it gives them insurance too. After next year, I think there's a team option on Hartenstein. So, you see kind of what happens at that point. And, Hartenstein's making like 28 million. So he could come off the books, and Sorber's certainly making a lot less than that. You're going to have other decisions. Jalen Williams, you're going to have to pay him. So at some point, it's like what you watch with the Celtics. They had to dump Porzingis and Drew Holiday here. At some point, you can't keep all your stars. You're going to have to pay Chet. You're going to have to pay – you've already paid Shea, and you're going to have to pay Jalen. So you're going to have to find some young guys that kind of develop that are on low money contracts, and I think Sorber can be a guy like that.
The thing I'll push back, Rob – Guard, the thing I push, not push back, but the thing I'd say about the Boston thing is Boston did it with a veteran group. This team is with a bunch of young guys. So they have time, whereas Boston was on the clock. So as soon as Tatum got hurt, it was like, all right, we're not going into the second apron, with this group. And then you broke it up. And that's why Porzingis is gone. That's why Drew Holiday's gone. This is the second youngest team. And you got two of your stars on rookie deals. And you only got one, obviously, the MVP that you're playing. So I think they are set up as well as any team in the NBA right now to run that back. Now, where does free agency change the outlook on everything right now? We'll see. There's a lot of trades and a lot we'll find out in the coming days of where it goes. But this was the best team in the NBA this year from the start to the finish.
Yeah, the interesting part to me is whether or not Sorber is the guy to be able to be that Hartenstein fit, right? Like he's not the level of athletic that we've seen out of someone like Hartenstein. I think if you're looking for someone to fill that specific role, there were other players available here that you could take and kind of see like, hey, we'll see if this guy ends up being athletic enough to do it. He's only 6'9". He does have a 7'6" wingspan. He's like fluid and coordinated as opposed to being a guy that is super explosive. I think he passes well, and I do believe the defense is a little bit translatable, but I don't know if he's necessarily a switch and guard on the perimeter guy. I don't know if he's necessarily someone that's going to step out and knock down threes anytime soon. So I don't know. It's a little. I like him as a player. I just think he's a little bit of a weird fit if he is the guy that you are testing Goodman to see if he can replace Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, you got to take a chance on a guy like that. That's the need down the road potentially, because you know you're keeping Shea. You know you have to keep Jalen Williams. You know you have to keep Chet Holmgren. You're also looking at who fits with Chet Holmgren. You know, Sorber is like an Al Horford type of player. He's not a great athlete, more of a mid-range shooter, but look at what Al Horford was able to do in the latter stages of his NBA career, you know, and extend and step out and make threes, and smart, high IQ, good defender. Again, not a great athlete, but just a solid. He fits OKC too, doesn't he? In terms of the character, the IQ, all of that. The fact that you know, he's not a guy who's going to get in any trouble.
Yep. All right. So Portland is on the clock here at 16, and I believe it's Portland, right? Memphis is picking, but Memphis traded for Cedric Howard.
Part of the trade. Do we know that? Yes.
Yeah, according to Sean, that's what producer Trevor is telling us in my ear. So I guess we're back to what the hell does Portland need here, Henson? We talked about this a little bit earlier. What do they need?
Oh, shit.
I had to refresh my.
We got a crazy pick here.
Uh-oh.
How about this? You're not going to believe this one. And none of you have a scouting report on this one. Hanson Yang.
China.
What?
You heard me right. Hanson Yang. Yes. Are we sure?
Are you sure you're not getting messed with?
I lost my big board.
I'm positive.
Where's Hanson Yang on your big board, Henson?
I got him. I got him on my big board. I do. I got him down here. Ready? Hanson Yang, 7'1". I don't know who's taking him now. That's the only problem, but I'm tweeting it anyway. I know Hanson Yang's going 16th. I'm not sure who the hell to, whether it's Memphis or Portland. But Hanson Yang is a 7'1", 250-pounder from China. I talked to an NBA guy about him today, actually. Great touch around the basket. Really good passer. 19 years old. Not a great athlete, but a guy that a lot of people liked in the 20s, in that range, in the 20, 25. This is a lot higher than most people had him. Averaged a double-double in the CBA, not the CBA you're thinking about, but the Chinese Basketball Association. Averaged 16.6, 10.5, and 2.5 blocks. He wants to be the next Yao Ming. He won't be the next Yao Ming.
I'm looking at kind of like articles and things. This was kind of called out by a couple outlets. Hey, like Hanson Yang is not a sleeper. He might be a future all-star. Sports Illustrated. Dominates the game. Okay, well, hey, look, they get paid. That's why they get paid the big bucks. This might be like a Giannis type swing for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Randolph, what do you got? I got nothing.
What do you got?
Nothing.
The two of you are looking at each other like, all right. So,
hey, Rob, I'm looking at a picture of him. And I want to give him a haircut when I'm looking at this picture. The first thing I want to do is do some clippers. That's what I want to do, Jeff. I'm looking at a picture of him, and I want to give him the Randolph special. Is what I want to get. I don't know how good of a basketball player he is, but before he comes over here, wherever city he goes in, they better take his ass to the barbershop. That's where he needs to go because he needs to get some scissors. Like that's what he needs, but. I don't know how good he is.
Yeah, I got nothing. We got a couple mentions in the chat right now. I think we need to play out. One, Hanson Yang's birthday is tomorrow, for those that are wondering, according to Google. And John F wanted to let everybody know that Goodman obviously doesn't know ball.
Why? What did I do?
Wow.
I had no idea. You knew who
What did I
Hanson
say?
Yang was. You knew who Hanson Yang was. I'll give you credit for that.
Listen,
Right.
Jeff had Hanson Yang on the big board and made a phone call. Jeff knows ball.
Jeff knows,
I mean,
he knew who Hanson Yang was. I got nothing.
That was honestly, and I had the call this afternoon. This afternoon, there was a call about Hanson Yang, believe it or not. Otherwise, like, I wouldn't have known who the hell. We would have come off the board, and I would have been like, who is Hanson Yang? No idea.
I like goatee flag right here, man. I like goatee flag. I like that.
I don't know.
Give him a little,
I don't know.
Give him a little bit of an edge. Gives him a little bit of an edge.
I don't know. There's I don't think people of the Caucasian race can pull off goatees, Henson. I don't think we look good with goatees.
It is
The
Portland.
only thing
It is Portland.
only thing Caucasian about Cooper Flag is on the outside, my boy.
And Portland just drafted him? Is that what you said, Jeff?
Yes.
Again, maybe they're planning on moving Aiden. I mean, they got a lot of bigs in Portland right now. I mean, that's a first-round pick when you got DeAndre Ayton and you got Donovan Clingan there.
I know. Well, I feel like Ayton might be on the move again.
No, maybe he is, and maybe you're stockpiling this. I would imagine.
And this kid's a project.
He's a
This
project.
kid's also a
He's
project.
2 years from down the road. Yeah, you're drafting now. We're getting into that
You could
point
have the
now.
Twin
when you're
Towers.
drafting.
Hey, you could have
No way.
you could have the Twin Towers with Clingan and Yang.
It's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
clunking.
It ain't
That's
a
what
whole
it's
lot
gonna
of
be.
2-3 zones, Jeff, in the NBA. There ain't a whole lot of those. They ain't playing a whole bunch of 2-3 zones.
Man, boy, Pascal Siakam gonna come out here and dance.
I can't wait to see people on Kendrick Perkins break down Hanson Yang's game.
No.
Oh, don't worry, they got.
But he was at
RC,
the combine, though, so they probably saw him at the combine.
That's true. You're right. Oh, the comment was because you Googled him and you saw a picture of his hair.
Do what?
And he got the
I need
all
some
white
food.
on.
I'll be right back. I got to get some food. I'm starving. Where is it? Oh, Hanson. That's a good haircut. What are we talking about? Come on, RC.
It's wet, so it
He's got-
shrunk. He cut the front of it.
RC, you're really not in a position to be making fun of anybody's hair. Can I just say that?
Hey, man, that's what I'm saying. I'm not making. I'm just saying he need a cut. I can talk about needing a cut.
I don't think his hair looks terrible, bro. He's not really. How old is he? 20 years old?
Oh, look, he's there. He's there. He's there too. He's walking down right.
Hey,
He's
look
got a
like-
hug with somebody.
Yeah, he about to listen, man. China about due for one of them boys to come over here and make some noise again, man. They about due.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
That's a weird pick to me with a guy like that. I mean, that's definitely a developmental pick. They're going to stash him somewhere, right? He can't be on the
What are you eating, Goodman? What are we eating here,
Huh?
Goodman? What are you eating?
Actually, this is the shocker of the year, I know. But we're going with some like veggies and dip. How about that?
He's trying to get his beach body back.
Show back. I never had one. What do you mean?
He's gonna have Randolph. He's gonna have to eat a lot of vegetables to get a beach body.
Hey, he tried to
Jeff,
fill
here you
out
go.
some of them
Me,
t-shirts
Jeff,
he was
right here.
wearing. When he was wearing them flimsy t-shirts that was all loose in the collar.
Jeff, here you go, right here. I got something for you.
There you go. That looks
These are the
good.
ones. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Look, game changers.
Man. Baron
We can
J's
pass a
going
little bit.
17. Baron
Who
J.
is?
Pass a little. Okay.
Joan
big kid,
Beringer is
Baron
going
J.
17th to Minnesota. So let's ask. Let me ask you guys this: we have not heard Kasparas Yakashonis' name. He's the guy we're talking about. Someone sliding, right? He went from being like this guy might go top 10 to is he going to go in the top 20? Why do you think he's sliding? Why do you think he is? We're now down to pick 18. We have not heard his name called yet.
I think it's positional fit, right? Like he's a point guard, right? He's a point guard with size. A lot of teams have their guy at leading them, so I think it's just the way this draft has been weird. So I don't think it's necessarily him, right? I just think it's just positional need, fit, talent. He's just not the teams that he's not on the board of teams at the spot that he's at. It's tricky for him.
I think Rob, he plays at one of the hardest positions there is in the NBA. I thought the inconsistency in the slot of Illinois hurt him. The team struggled, though he was banged up. There was a lot of rumors it was flu virus through the team, blah blah blah, but he didn't shoot it great. And I think there were some inconsistencies in his play. So, do you see him being a secondary ball handler or a true point guard at the NBA level? And I think that's a fair question that you can ask, right? Like, is he a guy? Is he a true point guard?
He on paper he profiles as that guy. I think that's probably his best position, but I also think that he is a good enough player off the ball that I think he's a guy that can be a catch and shoot guy, right? I
thought it was bigger.
Yeah, I don't know if he's necessarily like Lonzo Ball, right? Because what made Lonzo Ball effective when he wasn't all of a sudden a guy that could be a really good defender and a versatile piece on that end of the floor. And your second, like you run something on one side of the floor, it doesn't work, you get it to the other side, he's the guy that can be the decision maker. And it worked because Lonzo was able to defend as well. And I don't know if Yakashonis is that. I was not enamored with him, but I think if you're getting him now at 18th, he becomes the value pick, kind of like a Dalton Connect of last season.
No.
Dalton Connect.
I don't think. I mean, even when you made the comparison to Lonzo, I think Lonzo had elite vision and passing ability, and he was a really good defender. With his size, those things translated from day one. That's what I mean with Yakashonis is that he has size, but I don't think I don't know if you view him as a lead guard. And if so, not necessarily a starting lead guard. You're viewing him as more of a guy that's capable. And like I said, he didn't shoot it great. It's mechanically he looks fine. He's a good passer, but I just don't know athletically what you look at and say, hey, we view him as a lead guard.
So
then as he gets further down, I like him.
So Minnesota just took this kid Beringer, who is basically I don't want to say a clone of Rudy Gobert, but that's the comp. So he'll just back him up. He'll back up Rudy and get spot minutes and kind of give him a similar look, and maybe he can grow into a guy that I remember seeing Rudy at the combine. Man, Rudy was atrocious at the combine and turned into a really good player. So this kid, he's a little bit of a project. Some people thought he could go ahead of Maluach coming into tonight. Some people thought there was a chance because they're similar in what they do. This kid's 6'11", long, and block shots. Not much of an offensive game, but again, he'll be very similar, and he can be tutored almost by Rudy Gobert, which isn't the worst thing in the world for a young kid like this.
That'll be his best way to get on the floor.
Yeah. No, how about the bigs that have come off lately, though? The international bigs, Beringer and Hanson Yang, always going to be a favorite of Randolph Childress now for the rest of
his first haircut's on me, Jeff. His first haircut's on me. I'm paying for it.
Who's the guy? All right, who's the guy that's still on the board now that you guys would say, all right, you know what? Like, that's the guy. Forget about need or any of that. That's the guy I'm betting on to have a career in the NBA. Who's the one guy that's left right now?
Can you give me Nique Clifford? I like Nique Clifford.
Yeah.
From size, position. He can do a lot of things out there. If I had to, bet on a guy that's going to carve a role, probably him.
I'm gonna go with Maxime Reynaud. I think he's gonna come in the NBA and be a backup big from the jump and be effective for someone. I think he's gonna be and be a chance to play a small ball five in this era. I really liked him. Then I really think he rebounds it well. He was literally led the country in 2010 games I'm a huge fan of his. I think his jump shot will get even better as he develops more in the NBA. I love what he could be. He didn't have a lot of talent around him. I think as he gets in the NBA and around talented guards is going to make his job be a lot easier. He passes it really well. Like I'm a huge fan of his. If he can get to the right situation, he can help you right away because of the skill set that he has. I thought he was the most skilled offensive 7-footer in college basketball last year.
I agree with you. I did a show earlier this week. I said superstar potential later in the draft. I mean, or a guy that maybe become his household name. I thought Ray Noah was the guy. He's got everything. I mean, this is, I guess, it's all relative. But if Ray Noah's under 20 or under 21, I think he's already off the board. He's just old, and when you're 22, your ceiling's your ceiling. But I think he could be effective. He has everything that you would want. And he's not soft. He boards, shoot it. He's got the Euros. He got the handle. Don't let him slip to one of these teams.
Hey, John, I'll say this though. I don't think being old hurts you when you started getting to this point in the draft because you're going to playoff teams. So as we talked about, Henson and these other guys, they're going to teams and you're stashing them. You're sending them somewhere to play either in your G League or whatever. I think Maxime Reynaud is a guy because we talk about it. Teams are stashing these guys, but coaches, their livelihood and their lifespan isn't that long. I want a guy that can come in here and potentially help me. And so getting older guys, it's not a bad thing. And I think somebody's going to eventually pick him at some point in this first round.
He got game.
I like the kid Asa Newell. I think he can be really good. Oh, here's another great one. You guys are going to love this one. You ready? The Washington Wizards, with the 18th pick, will select. I want to hit the button because I love this kid. So you're going to know who it is, Rob. Who do I love? Who am I going to be happy that the Wizards took with 18?
Nique Clifford?
Nope. Who's one of my favorite kids that I've known for a few years that I love? Walter Clayton goes 18.
Oh, yes.
Like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes. I that was actually going to be one of my storylines. Like, where does he go? Because you can't, like, proven commodities are a real thing. Like, he's, and I think we miss that on the draft sometimes. Wow, he's so good. I mean, he killed everything in front of him. Why wouldn't he be successful at the next level in some capacity? So I love that pick.
Can't argue.
It looks like he's getting traded. Looks like that pick is getting traded. Goodman.
Okay. Let's see where.
So.
I'm happy because winners, man. I love when winners get rewarded, man, because that matters. So I'm happy for him.
And that you talk about story. That's another one with a hell of a story.
Mm-hmm. Started at Iona.
Let me find out where Walt's going.
Yeah, I will say this about Walter Clayton Jr. Right, I wonder about the ability he has to be a point guard. Right, like he's a proven commodity, but it's as something of like an undersized scoring guard. Is he really the point guard you're looking for in the NBA?
6'3", 6'4", though. He's not undersized. He's not little.
Well, he might be listed at 6'4", but like Henson, I walked by that dude enough at the Final Four to know like if he's 6'4", I'm 6'4", and I'm not 6'4". So
I'm gonna see what he measured at the draft combine. I mean, the draft combine is, they don't play them. They wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning in your draws. That's the real height.
Yeah.
I think, like, why are we up this early? Why do you need to measure my weight and height in this early in the morning?
That fair point. I do. He's going to Utah. I do wonder if he is going to be like a point guard, but at some point, like the level of tough shot making that dude showed during the NCAA tournament is not something we've seen a lot of. Throughout college basketball, right? Like some of the shit that he was throwing up that was going in as they made that run to the national championship was absolutely mind-boggling. And I think that translates. Henson, you talked about rebounding translating. tough shot making translates, man. Being able to knock down threes
100%.
translates, and I think that's something that at the very least he'll be able to provide. And in Utah, look, are we buying? What do they got there? They got Colin Sexton, Isaiah Collier, Keontae
They got
George.
nothing. They got nothing. They got Markkanen and they don't have much.
John said they got white girls. That's what John said.
They got white girls. That's about it. That's about it.
And let me tell you something. This ain't after dark, but when things are taboo, it just exacerbates the issue. So I'd imagine like to have a little fun out there. I'm just saying. What do you want me to say? Look, man, gotta keep it real, man.
One thing we've never doubted, Henson, is whether your ability to keep it real.
6'2", and some change without shoes. So 6'3", like he ain't undersized. 190. Yeah,
But I think he plays the game, Rob. I think he's a willing passer, and I'm not making this comparison in a sense of he's that player yet. But he reminds me of like a Jamal Murray. You worried about him being your quintessential point guard, right? But he can
I had
score
that
it.
same question about Jamal Murray in college.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
One.
And you get him in that situation to have him around, and he doesn't need to be your primary ball handler in a system that's going to move. He can make shots. He's a player, man. He's a baller, and guys like that, you definitely want on your team. I'm a huge fan of his, and we all been high on.
Too.
Oh man,
tough as hell.
Look,
too.
every NCAA champion has had a first rounder for my betting folks out there. So that's why we was on Florida, because we thought.
And he can create his own shot that not a lot of these guys are able to do. He's a guy that you can give the ball to. He can create space and get his shot off. And there's not many guys that's been in this draft that can do that.
Hey, look, Randolph. He can get his shot off and he can make tough shots, but he's not creating space. He's putting that up over people, through people, underneath their arms. You could play the best defense you've ever played in your entire life, and that thing's going in when Walter Clayton lets it fly, man. That's why I loved him.
I think his floor is going to be – he's going to be a guy that can – even if he's on your second team, he's going to be able to provide offense for you off the bench. I think he's going to have a really good career.
I agree.
So Utah now has Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton, right?
Yep.
Ignoring the fact that Dallas is the obvious winner because they got Cooper Flagg, and San Antonio is an obvious winner because they got Dylan Harper and they lucked into getting that second pick, right? I think it's very hard to look at what Utah's done so far in this draft and not say that they're in that same conversation, right? They had the fifth pick and they got the third most talented prospect, and you just added a national champion with the 18th pick. I feel like if you're Utah and you're a Utah fan, you're pretty happy with the way that this is playing out so far. Does that you guys agree with me?
Without question, I do.
Henson?
I'm watching Clayton. Like I love it. Like I just love it. Like I'm so happy for him. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what it's about. Like I'm just just kid that started off at Iona, top 20 pick. He's got a kid, gonna be able to take care of his family, pretty much for the rest of his life. 18th pick, he gets some good money as well. So I'm just happy for him. And like I said, he won a championship. He's being rewarded. I think that gets lost sometimes.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's production and winning. You get rewarded for those two things, which a lot of times in the NBA draft, it's all about potential. And obviously, he's not the biggest dude in the world. There's some concerns, different concerns, obviously, with Clayton than Ace Bailey. But Walter Clayton he's up there crying. You can see he's just been crying because, again, this is a kid that did. He came from Iona. Everybody, said he wasn't good enough, and wins a national title and goes 18th, and will get a chance to play. Not a bad year for Walter Clayton Jr.
For sure.
He picked Florida over St. John's and Rick Pitino and won a national championship, and it became a first-round pick. You know who else picked Florida over St. John's and Rick Pitino? Xavier Lee.
Florida's going to be a first-round
pick and national champion, Goodman?
No.
They're in the mix. They're definitely in the mix. That's for sure. I don't know if they're going to win it, but
Hey, his daughter's adorable too. Look at him.
Yeah, she's cute.
That's
She is.
Daddy. Yeah, it is. All right. 19th pick. Where are we at? 19th pick. Brooklyn. Brooklyn's picking again. They have, I believe, 4 more first rounders here before we call it day one of the NBA draft, which, by the way, I'm not a big fan of splitting the NBA draft up into 2 days. Can we just have it be one day? Imagine being in the green room and not hearing your name called and then having to come back the next day to go back to the green room.
Well, I think the NBA does a pretty good job. NBA does a pretty good job. Yeah, they do a pretty good job of camps in the league. Like if you get invited to the green room, you're probably leaving on that first day. Like Walter Clayton,
you're leaving first day. Like they won't invite you. They'll pretty much go with top 20 picks, kind of knowing you're gonna go. Now you can decide if you outside of that and just want to be a part of the experience to say you're going. But the NBA does a pretty good job of letting you know, like, your chances of being drafted and to avoid that kind of
All I know
moment.
is there was somebody, I can't remember who it was, one of the years I did the draft. No,
last year, somebody. Last year. Kyle Filipowski, your boy.
That's right. But, like, the year I was there, they had to escort somebody out. Like, I remember, because back then there were fewer people, too, invited, I think, that year. Probably like 18 or so. And whoever it was fell to like 40-something. And it was just painful to watch him and his family get up, from the table and have to walk out of the room. Literally walk out of the room. And he was like distraught. I forget who it was, but it was not good.
Yeah.
Casper
is still on the board. They already took Egor Demin. Can you take Kasparas Yakashonis if you already have Egor Demin?
No, because you got more picks. You got more picks. Why would you take him? You got 2 more picks. You take him later. It's not a need. What about Drake Powell? Can we talk about he's kind of ascended up boards a little bit? Top tier athlete, with some size, wing guy, can shoot it.
It's Nolan Traore.
I thought if I'm Brooklyn, I would have combined, if I had 4 first-round draft picks, I wonder if they tried to combine those and move up to get one of the sure prospects or one of the better prospects that we thought. Or are you just in the talent acquisition business trying to collect a whole bunch of guys? But if I'm Brooklyn at this point, is this the draft to have 4 first-round draft picks?
Probably not.
I can only say if you got 4 first-round draft picks, that's a good, hey, look, we got 4 of those guys. Somebody going to pan out, right? Like, if I don't know. Maybe that's their thinking. Draft 4 of these guys.
3 of them, damn near 20 and below.
Yeah.
So here's the weird part. So Brooklyn took Demin at 8, and they just took Traore. They're very different, I guess. Traore's 19, super athletic, fast guard out of France. Was in the top league in France this past year. I talked to somebody actually about him recently, and they said, like, can't really shoot. And
raw.
The pick. What's that?
He's raw. He's really raw, but he's young. He's one of these guys. Like, he had a really slow start to the season, but I think the last 2 months of the year, he averaged like 13 points and 4 assists and started to kind of figure it out because I think he's 19, right? So it's like a freshman coming in to the SEC. Like, it took him a while to find his feet. I believe it was his first year playing too.
I was just saying Koulibaly kind of started off slow, and now he started to look kind of taking shape of a good NBA player. So maybe, similar trajectory from France.
Yeah, it's weird. They both got 2 point guards, right? Brooklyn did. Man, and what was the thing you said they needed, Henson? You said they needed a 5-man.
But they're going to be able to they got Kalkbrenner down there. I bet you they draft Kalkbrenner. I bet you if they go 26, 27, they get Kalkbrenner. I bet. We're a bit old fashioned. What are we thinking? I get 2 old fashions.
You going double or nothing on it, Randolph?
Well, okay, how about this? They're going to draft
double up.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say they'll draft a center.
Eventually they just drafted 2 point guards. I mean, like, what are you trying to hedge your bet? You trying to come on?
Do you want to go Kalkbrenner? I'll go Kalkbrenner. I'll go Kalk. I go Brooklyn drafts Kalkbrenner.
I'm trying to bring
double it up.
Some luck to KJ. I'm trying to bring some luck to KJ here with the Daddy Brad, little orange. Tell me I don't look good in orange.
We can double it up. We can do that. I've been on espresso martinis lately. I might need to switch it up.
No, see, I tried to get on the espresso martini bandwagon, Henson. I just can't do it, man. I can't do it. It's like drinking Red Bull vodka. Like after you have 2 of them, I feel like my heart's going to beat out of my chest.
No, you can't have 2, Rob. See, that's the problem. You got to have 1 and go on with your day. Every time I've had more than 2 espresso martinis, it's been a wild night. We don't want that.
John, when we've been around Rob and we've been out with Rob on the road and we've had cocktails, when does Rob know when to say no to alcohol? When does he turn down a drink?
Never.
You cannot.
He's never in his life turned down
That's
a
the issue.
beverage. So,
with espresso martinis, you have to have self-control because people will be like, oh, these taste good. They'll have 3, and then all of a sudden they're on a roof somewhere. You're like, well,
he has no control. Not when it comes to cutting himself off. Now he'll get up and make his flight. He'll get up for work. He will do whatever needs to be done. But he ain't turning that out. He ain't turning out no beverages either. So that's a skill set, Rob. You'd be the number 1 draft pick on field of 68 for that quality of knocking down the drinks and then getting up and showing up, making it to the airport, showing up for work.
Hey, listen, if you're gonna hoot with the Owls, you gotta soar with the Eagles, Rob. You know that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm off the espresso martinis. That's why you go with the old fashions. That's why I stick with what I know. Right? You got to stay in the lane to stick with what you know. Miami's got the 20th pick here.
Oh,
Goodman. What do you got?
Nothing yet. I put this on
Nique.
for KJ.
Let's go. Who's a Heat culture guy?
Who's a culture guy? Like who's a dog? Like there's got to be somebody that's a dog.
McNeely, Liam McNeely,
Nique Clifford. I think Nique Clifford or McNeely.
No,
they
need
Hugo
somebody
Gonzalez.
that can guard.
So Nique Clifford. Let's go Nique Clifford.
Maybe Rasheer Fleming.
I go with Fleming.
How about Drake Powell?
Upside guy.
I'm going defender 3. I'm going defender size length. I'm going Nique Clifford, Drake Powell type. Yeah, it's not much left. 10 picks. This where it gets nerve wracking right here, boy. Like guaranteed money.
Yeah, buddy, you sweating bullets now. You get this late in the draft, you starting to be like, you on the phone. He calling your agent like, what are they talking? Who you talking to? You hearing anything?
Yeah. Because I in the draft slide, I think the money I made as a 14th pick, I think I think you make more than that as a 30, as a 27, 28th. I think you make more than that.
Different now.
So it's good money.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
KJ went to
look it up.
So I put on the shirt and he gets drafted.
You did.
The Daddy Brad shirt. It brings.
You forgot about him. That's actually a great pick by them. I forgot about him.
Henson, you know what the 20th pick is making guaranteed? $17.7 million. 3.7 year 1, $6 million year 4.
My deal was 4 year, 8, maybe 9.1. It was a 4 year. Yeah, I got 1.9, 1.9, 2.1, and 3.
You know what a 4
my draft was the one that changed all that. When Joe Smith came out and we had the same agent, and Joe was like gonna sign for $100 million. I mean, that was the lockout, and they cut all the rookie contracts. So we were signing for like 7, 8. But the veteran guys were getting mad because the young guys were coming in. Remember, Big Dog that came out maybe the year or two before, and then Joe Smith was supposed to be a rookie and get like $100 million when it wasn't common to get $100 million. And they hurry up. There was a lockout, shut all that down.
Yeah, I think I was like 4 year 9, something like that. So yeah, I mean, he's the 30th pick is going to make more money than I made as a lottery pick.
The 30th pick right now is going to make $14 million. The third pick right now is going to make $5.5 million in their fourth year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that was 14 years ago. Though.
You ate four. It's a 14th pick. You had 4 years, $9 million.
Yeah,
that's
I
honestly
know I went 1.9, 1.9, 2.13, something.
Yeah. That's what.
I don't
That's
even
what
remember
college
mine
players are
was.
getting right now.
Yeah, definitely. What I was gotten at 19.
The reason why I remember that is because when Sacramento was like number 4 pick, I saw it was like 3.5. I said, "Pitt, listen. I'll be okay. Grab me. I'll be fine. Don't worry about the expectations." So that's why I
But see,
remember the
this is
numbers.
why. Hey Jeff, also why Yakuchona's pick is good for Miami because we talked about being a point guard. Bam Adebayo's the point guard in Miami. So now he can just be a kind of scorer where he fits, and he can kind of be a secondary ball handler, initiate offense. But their offense is really Bam snatching it, pushing it. They don't necessarily play with a traditional point guard.
I like that for them too. I like the fit for him too because good organization. You know, they're gonna give him a shot. Positional size. You know, they got. I think Terry Rozier is the guy there. I don't think he'll be there next year. So
And look, they made it work with Duncan Robinson out there, right? They were able to find a guy that had the very specific skill and found a way to make it work for them, even though he couldn't guard Jeff Goodman one-on-one, right? And I feel like that's what Miami kind of does is one, they'll get you to guard. You know, it's one of those. What was the Rick Barnes line? He said, "We're going to find it. We know we can teach you how to defend. We need guys that can score." And I feel like that's kind of what's going to happen in Miami, right? They're going to teach you how to guard. They're going to teach you how to play. They're going to teach you how to be tough. And those are kind of the things where you have questions with Yakushonas. My question is always going to be the athleticism thing, right? Is he going to be able to create space? Is he going to be able to get to the rim? Is he going to be able to be strong enough to play defense at the NBA level?
Well, you can question that with a lot of guys, but what he is a 6'6" guard, right? That can put him on the deck. And again, it's going to be easier for him because he's playing with a guy like Bam. So when you run by screens with Bam, it makes the game easier. He's rolling for a lob, weak side don't come. He's throwing it. You play drop coverage on him. You know, you get to your pull-ups. I mean, it's a good situation, man. I mean, for him to be in. He doesn't have to be your quintessential point guard, you know, bouncing, playing with it in that system. That's a really good fit for him.
And Miami, you know, for the most part, if you look at their last first-round draft picks, I mean, the kid from UCLA, he didn't have the best year, you know, due to
Hawkins is pretty good.
He didn't have the best year, but I think that as a blip, I think he's going to be fine. And so usually, you know, getting drafted by Miami is a good thing, man. I'm happy for him.
They turned Khalil Ware into a player. Mike Woodson couldn't do it.
I thought Khalil Ware was going to be okay. When I watched him play, I was like, he's an NBA. Like, to me, he's an NBA player. Don't know if he's going to be an all-star, all-NBA, but size, skill set, athleticism, I figured he would land on his feet. And now he kind of has a chance to be the starting center of the future there and make a lot of money. So that was good.
So who's picking now? This is the Wizards, right? It's Utah's picking, but it's for the Wizards. Is that right?
Correct.
Keeping track of this shit is crazy, man. So who do the Wizards need here? The young core right now. You got Koulibaly, you got Bud Carrington, you got Alex Sarr, you got Tre Johnson. What are you looking to add here? Are you looking to add upside?
It's the San Antonio approach. You just stockpiling talent, and you
all right, just so we know. Hey, just so we know, I put this shirt on, and what happens? What happens?
Did Will Riley go 21? No wait. Is it Will Riley?
Oh,
hey, Trevor, like this is the lucky shirt, baby. Look at that. Literally, I put it on back-to-back Illini.
Hey, Rob, you tell whoever said that about Jeff, they owe Jeff an apology. Jeff threw his shirt on, and then Illini got 2 first-round draft picks back-to-back.
That's right.
And that's pretty impressive for kind of a polarizing team to have 2 first-rounders, but that makes sense because we just couldn't figure them out this year.
Yeah. I like Will Riley, too. Like, I think that dude needs – he needs to eat a sandwich right? Like RC, they gotta send him down to Ben's Chili Bowl. Like
That's what
he's
they
got
said
to
about
put on
Henson.
some weight.
Hey,
Yeah,
they said
he's
that
got to
about
put on some
Henson
weight.
plenty of times.
I
But
walked
that
into
dude
the
knows how to score. I think he's a better passer than his numbers will make you think. Like I think, yeah, I'm a big Will Riley fan. My prediction would be Will Riley has a better NBA career than Kasper Giacchionis does. It doesn't sound as crazy when they're one pick apart, but I was going to say that when I thought they were going like 12th and 24th. I think Will Riley has a better NBA career than Giacchionis.
yeah.
It depends, Robert. The difference is one is in one of the more stable organizations, and one is in an organization that is trying to figure it out. That has been stuck in the rut for all my life. So I think that would be the difference in
I
where
mean,
we talked about this earlier.
RC, y'all had you had with the wall days where y'all had to get had the little fake rivalry against Bron when he was sending y'all home. I mean, y'all tried.
Cut it out. It wasn't much hope. It ain't been much hope in DC since when Strickland was there and Weber and we had Jawan and we had Rasheed. That was when the highest upside. After that, I mean, we weren't. I don't think anybody thought we were going anywhere. As good as Gilbert was, it was like that team.
I mean, you thought maybe with Beal and Wall, when they had Beal and Wall for a minute, you thought maybe they'd be decent.
Yeah.
No.
I thought John was good. I just didn't think they were going anywhere.
It's the Wizards.
I don't think the Wizards did a good job of integrating those guys and just as an organization, like, look, we're together in this thing. And I'm just going to say that because I know some stories, but
I think they got the right veterans, John. We talked about now. Like, they got a bunch of young guys. I like the veterans that they got with those young guys right now. I think that, and that's critical when you got a locker room full of 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. You need some vets to teach these guys how to be pros, because you're giving them a lot of money, and being in DC, being in Chocolate City is a lot. It's a lot going on. So you need them guys focused on showing up and being professionals and not worried about the nightlife in DC, because that's ultimately what happened with the Wizards and why they suck. It ain't Utah. It's a whole lot to do.
Ace Bailey thought he was going to Chocolate City and ended up in Ace Bailey thought he was going to Chocolate City and ended up in Vanillaville.
Get your little RPM Italian, go hang out at the wharf, then go, go to Rose Bar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, DC is active.
Ace Bailey's sick right now. He's like, damn. and it was like Washington, New Orleans, and like Brooklyn was the three cities right afterwards that he thought he was going to. And they like, nah, you coming out here to the mountains, baby. Get your Timbs, baby.
Get your little drink of the Pendry rooftop. Get your little drink of the Pendry rooftop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bring your own liquor.
Hey, you could also
bring your own liquor.
RC, you could take the train to New York real quick, get up there, hang out, come back.
Hey, look, Rob, any one of those. He could have been in DC, the train from DC to New York, or he been in New Orleans. He'd have loved that. Damn, they threw my man a curveball, man. Danny Ainge said, "The hell with that. You coming out here."
All right. Let's get into this now. All right, since I don't know how much is going to change here towards the end of the first round pick.
It takes me back. I went to Milwaukee. That was a tragic. Whew. All right.
What you got, Rob?
I want to make sure that we get to this. So let's start with, I want everyone, the biggest winner of the NBA draft so far, the biggest winner that you have for the first round of the draft. And if you want me to go first, I can go first. And you know what, Randolph, I'm going to give it to you because I got a feeling I know where you're going to go with this.
I mean, we talked about this earlier. I think we're joking about it, but I like what Utah's done. I do like what they've done, and I'll stick with that. I mean, they've gotten some really good young players, and say what we want, Danny Ainge knows what he's doing. They got to do it through the draft. That's the way Utah's going to get it done. They're not going to get it through free agency. So I like what they've done so far.
Henson, biggest winner of the first round of the NBA draft.
I'm gonna go Spurs just because of what they have already. It's kind of like the rich get richer, and if Harper and Bryant turn out to be the players that they're expected to be and drafted to be, Carter Bryant 14 and Harper, I think the Spurs have fast-tracked themselves to win at a high level or be able to flip assets and just become better, right? And if they need to add a piece or subtract a piece, similar to OKC, they can do that with, the capital they have in the draft, the young players, et cetera. So I like the Spurs for now.
Goodman, biggest winner of the first round.
The Pelicans. I'm going the Pelicans. They got Fears. He slid down to 7. High upside guy again. Not going to help you probably tomorrow, but could be a really, really, really good player. And then they traded and got Derik Queen with, I think it was like 12 or 13. 13, right? Didn't they? No?
Yep.
Yeah. So 2 guys, one which can help you immediately. And another, it's going to take some time, but I think could develop. I think those are 2 starting players in the NBA for a long time.
Okay. I'm going to go it might be the first time that this has ever happened in the history of the NBA draft, but I'm going to go with the Washington Wizards, man. I told you guys this earlier. I thought out of those 4 wings that were picked 3rd through 6th, that Tre Johnson was the best of the 4. I like him the best out of the 4. And Washington picked 6th and ended up with the guy that I think is the best of the 4 of them. They avoided Ace Bailey, and I think there's too many red flags there. I don't think you wanted Ace Bailey if you were Washington. I don't think that he's a guy that will win. I think he's an empty calories player. So I think you avoided Ace Bailey. You got the best of those 4 wings in Tre Johnson. And then you go out and you get another guy in Will Riley that I think can kind of fill that same role. So you got a bunch of scorers to go around a guy like Bilal Coulibaly, who is a versatile defender, a potential point guard of the future in Bub Carrington, and the number 2 pick in last year's draft in Alex Sarr. And you got all those guys there, and they're learning from the vets like we talked about. I think the Wizards are in a place right now that makes a lot of sense for them, and they're set up in a good place to kind of build for the future here. Maybe it'll take a while. They're probably still going to be tanking next year, but I don't hate where the Wizards are. And they're going to have $1 billion in cap room next season. Biggest loser of the first round of the NBA draft. Goodman, I'm putting you on the spot. Who is your biggest loser in the first round of the NBA draft?
Oh, boy. Come back to me in a sec. Come back to me. I think it might be Phoenix with taking these 2 bigs. I don't quite understand it, right? Didn't they get Maluach and then they traded for another 7-footer?
Yeah, they got Mark Williams. They gave up the 29th pick in the draft for Mark Williams. Gave up another first rounder for him, and they got Vasily Milicic or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. They got another guy back in the trade. So you were right, Randolph. They got somebody back, but yeah, you're going with the Suns, Goodman.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't understand it. I don't understand why the hell you're taking two bigs when you already have. You drafted Maluach. I don't know why you're taking, trading for Mark Williams in that deal and giving up first round picks. But I got to look at that one a little bit closer. And then obviously the Hanson Yang one is a little bit bewildering to me. Taking that early if you're Portland, don't quite understand that one either.
Henson, biggest loser of the first round.
Just upon initial, I mean, I wouldn't call him a loser, but maybe with Brooklyn having all these picks and not really using them to go get what we think may be an immediate impact guy, with Traore, right, who's a raw player, and Demin, who has his deficiencies, but he's a top 10 pick. So we were kind of shocked about that one. So they reached for him. So maybe Brooklyn, but we'll see what they do with the next 2 picks. But 4 picks in the first round and not grouping them together or trying to move around or move up or down, it's interesting.
Doesn't make sense. Randolph?
Yeah.
Collin Murray-Boyles.
Yeah.
We talked about
it.
There too. I mean, that was
Drake Powell. Drake Powell going to Brooklyn.
Yeah, we'll get to that in one second. Well, yeah. So the biggest loser for me, was, I mean, look, it's very easy to mention Yakashonis just because he was the guy that kind of slid in the first round. But I'm going with the Bulls. I don't get it. I don't get the direction that they're going. It feels like with some of the decisions they made in the offseason, they're trying to be a team that can win now, right? And then they go out and they draft the second youngest guy that left his team right before competing for a championship to attend the draft, which didn't matter. His teammate, Ben Saraf, is not here. There are other guys that are playing for, like Hugo Fernandez is not at or Hugo Gonzalez is not at the draft because he's playing with Real Madrid trying to win a championship. So you end up with a guy that left the team before winning a championship that is like a good 2 years away from compete. Like it just feels like the Bulls are in this never-ending purgatory where they're not going to be good enough to go or bad enough to go draft the Cooper Flags of the world, and they're not going to be good enough to actually do anything beyond like get into a playing game every year. They're just stuck in that, like, they're the 18th best team in the NBA purgatory, which is the worst possible place for you to be. You just don't matter. And they're the Chicago Bulls. I don't get it. Goodman, who you said Drake Powell went 22nd to
Brooklyn.
Is he going to Brooklyn?
Third of 5. Yeah, third of 5 first-round picks. Remember, they started with Demin, then they went Traore, and now they go Drake Powell, who obviously we know can guard. The biggest question with the North Carolina freshman, can he shoot it? That's going to be the biggest thing. But go ahead, Henson.
Statistically, he's 81st percentile in catch and shoot threes in college basketball this year, and 84th in finishing at the rim. He was a top 10 projected pick coming into the season. Wings are what people want. He tested off. He was one of, if not, I think, they do the athleticism, whatever, all the combined scores. I think he was the most athletic player in the draft as well, combine. So I like this. I figured he would go. He was in my notes as kind of a sleeper. So I'm not surprised. I kind of had him.
He can guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be able to guard at the NBA level like day one. And I think if you're betting on the jumper coming around and you get, what is he, 6'5", 6'6", explosive arms, and guard, he can make threes. Like if you're banking on Trae Young being your guy, then getting players of Drake Powell's profile, that seems like the right kind of process, Randolph, when you're making a pick like this. I'm sorry, he's going to the Nets. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Trae Young. He's going to the Nets. What am I talking about? That tells you I've completely lost track of everything that is happening right here. Yeah, but still, he makes a lot of sense around. Let's just say Egor Demin. He's going to make sense around Egor Demin.
I mean, it's good. I think Cam Johnson gets traded to a contender, so they're gonna need to start filling in some of them pieces.
You trade, right then. They're in the obviously rebuild mode. They're just trying to collect talent and guys and hope it pan out. Right now, even the late 20s of a pick, are you picking someone with a skill set, that you believe in? This is an upside pick. Drake Powell is a guard, not really catch and shoot. He shot the ball okay. It wasn't consistent, but he played for a really inconsistent Carolina team that we know obviously came on strong. That we were all questioning. It shouldn't even been in the tournament, and. But they were a lot better when he got into the lineup, and I think that's a lot that goes with what has helped his upside is when they started him and they went with a bigger lineup, with a bigger front court with him coming in, that's when things took off for Carolina. And I think he's just trying to roll that momentum into this first round selection. So can he continue to be a good defender, maybe a 3-and-D guy day one? When he gets to Brooklyn, he'll get the opportunity because they're in that, to collect talent stage.
What happened to him this year, Henson? Why did this guy that came in with he had the pedigree that he had, the projection that he had, did not have the kind of year that any of us expected him to have at North Carolina?
I mean, I think RJ Davis coming back kind of tiered everyone down a little bit as far as what they were going to become because he was the guy. But I don't think this year was terrible for him in the sense of, yes, he was projected to be a lottery pick, but you go 20th pick. What was that, Rob? 15, 16 million? Like, to a situation where you can play. So I think overall, from where it started from, he recovered very well. Like I said, his numbers on paper actually show a little better than people think from the finishing standpoint and the shooting standpoint. So, it just was a weird fit for him at Carolina this year with what they had, and as RC said, when they finally threw him into the lineup, they were better. And I think that going to the next level, he makes your team better defensively. And if he can start knocking down catch and shoot threes with his athleticism, his size, he can be a plug and play type guy that can, have a 8 to 12-year career. Excuse me. And you look up and, he's made, over 100 million. So I like the spot for him. May not be as high as he wanted to go, but it's a good opportunity, which is all you want in the NBA. It's just opportunity, because sometimes you don't get that.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's higher than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, Rob, I'd say this. When you start going this late in the draft, not oftentimes do you get an opportunity where you go to a team that's not very good and you may get opportunity to play. At some point in the year, it seems like Brooklyn is going to roll their young guys out there and give them an opportunity. When you starting to get into your 20s, now usually you're talking playoff teams and you don't have any shot. You're just going straight to the G League because those teams are in the playoffs. Later you get in the draft, the better those teams are, the further they've gone in the playoffs, and there's a very limited chance of you helping them right away.
And a pivotal point of Marcus was just when I got the opportunity to play, we were on a bad team, and like RC said, they rolled all the young guys out there, and I played well, and that kind of got me to the next point of my career where, okay, I proved I was able to belong, and so hopefully you'll get that opportunity.
Yep. Goodman, you got some news for us?
Yeah, so the Atlanta Hawks, who made the trade with New Orleans, have the 23rd pick. They just took a local player, Georgia big man Asa Newell, who I really like. I know, again, he's a little bit of a project offensively, but a really, really good defensive player who's switchable, plays hard, can run the floor, can finish, defends at a high level, high character. Again, a good piece for the Hawks. Obviously they just got Porzingis in the trade with the Celtics, so that'll help them. But as we know, Porzingis is not the most available player in the world, so they need some other bigs.
I don't get this one, guys. I don't. This Asa Newell doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I don't know. I'm not in on him as a prospect. I feel like he's a tweener. He doesn't really have the wingspan. I think, what is he, 6'9"? He kind of got by in college because he played hard as shit, and I don't know if that necessarily translates to the next level when you're not going to be the biggest player of your position. I don't think he's necessarily a 4 because I don't know how good he is on the perimeter or if he can really shoot it. I don't know if he's a 5 because I don't think he's big enough. And when you have guys like Nique Clifford and Danny Wolf and Liam McNeely and some players like that still on the board, it just there are other places that I would have gone instead of Asa Newell if I was the Hawks making this selection. That doesn't really make sense to me.
I just, when I watched Georgia games, I was just so intrigued by him. I couldn't really put my finger on it. He would hit threes and he would dominate, certain points of the game where you're like, whoa. And then he would kind of disappear. But you saw what he could become or what he could potentially be, given the work ethic and, just getting older and more mature as a player. So I like this pick this late. I think this is kind of a high upside pick for them. But like I said, when I watch the games, I would just see certain stretches of games blown away. And then, obviously he was inconsistent. He would do what he do. But I like this pick for him. He's going to get an opportunity to get a guaranteed deal, a couple years to show what he has. And this late in the draft, that's all you can ask for.
I just don't know where he plays and how he helps this team. And maybe that's not what they're looking for out of it, but I don't know where he cracks the rotation to help that Atlanta Hawk teams with Jalen Johnson and those guys on the front court. I mean, he's more of an interior guy. You still got Clint Capella. Maybe there's moves that they're going to continue to make, right? With you just getting Porzingis. So he's not a floor spacing guy, and maybe they're hoping he just comes in and develops in some interior presence.
I think Capella's a free agent too.
But I don't think Capella is 6'11" with like a 7'5" wingspan, and Asa Newell's 6'9" with a 6'11". I just
Capella's a free agent. He's a free agent. So.
Yeah, I feel like he's not big enough to be the 5. He's not quite skilled enough to be the 4. He's not enough of a passer to be like whatever you want to say.
I don't know what he is. I'm with you, Rob. I don't know what he's going to be. What does he project?
I don't know what he is at the NBA level, and I just think that there are at least 3 guys that I look at and I can say, okay, I can project them right now to be able to play a role right now in the NBA. We know Nique Clifford, 23 years old, athletic, can knock down threes, was one of the top
Clifford's
5
going
players
now.
in the country. Clifford to OKC.
Clifford is going to OKC. Yeah.
The rich get richer. The rich
being traded.
It's being traded. Who are they trading it to? Who they traded to, Goodman?
I'm not sure yet.
You'd imagine if Brooklyn wants somebody, they'd use those 2 picks to move up.
Yeah. According to Matt Norlander, he's going to the Sacramento Kings with the 24th pick, which I honestly could not tell you who's on the Kings roster right now. Henson, bail me out. Give me someone. Give me a name.
Sabonis. You've got who's at the point guard for them right now? You got
that's
the kid from Iowa,
Malik Monk, Chris.
The kid from Iowa, Malik Monk,
Levine. Yeah. That's weird. That's a little bit strange to me because I don't think Clifford's a guy that you want to kind of be the starting point of a rebuild. But I love that dude's game. I compared him. I don't remember why I compared him to LeBron on our first weekend live stream. Do you remember why I did that, Goodman? Anyone?
No.
Trevor, do you remember why I did that? I don't remember why I did that.
Trevor,
I love him.
Trevor, don't sound so excited. Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Trevor's done. Trevor's ready to call it quits. The 2 Illini guys got drafted, and he's ready to go.
I mean, Trevor was brought in. He's pinched.
Trevor's drunk,
I mean, he was.
Like he's already drunk. He's already celebrating. He's already celebrating. Trevor's already drunk. He got 2 Illini drafted in the first round. He's already knocked down a few. That's why things went awry earlier because of Trevor. Kevin knocked him down. He's done for the night.
I just like how I said, someone bail me out. Who's on the Kings? And we were like, Sabonis and I don't know, maybe somebody else, man. That tells you how much Kings basketball we're watching over here on the
Davion Mitchell. Right? Davion Mitchell's still there?
Off night.
He's with the Heat.
Who's
the point guard?
No, look,
who's their point guard?
They had Markelle Fulton there last year. I mean, Markelle Fulton. Once they bailed out and got rid of De'Aaron Fox, kind of like once Fox went to San Antonio, it's like you can tell they were already in the rebuild mode.
Yeah, I love Dominique Clifford.
Devin Carter.
We got the Orlando Magic picking next here. If I can manifest a draft selection, can we get Liam McNeely to
I knew you were going to say
the Orlando
that.
Magic? You need. He's a guy that is an elite shooter. Plays.
Yeah,
I think he's the best shooter left on the board. You're telling me?
I'd say Kobe. I'd say Kobe Bryant, best shooter.
Yeah,
I just don't know if Kobe Bryant is an NBA player right now. I think Liam McNeely is, and I know he didn't shoot that well in college. I think he was put in a different role. I'm in on Liam McNeely being in a very good role player at the next level.
It's just that regime. That's the regime I had with me in Milwaukee. They want size, length, 2-way. Like, so I wonder if McNeely even fits their profile. So it'll be interesting. Maybe Jace Richardson. Who they got? Who do they have on their roster?
For Orlando,
size, you're not drafting Jace Richardson.
What about Reynaud?
Reynaud would make sense.
I think you got to get a guy that can shoot the ball that's got some size and length. I mean, McNeely, I guess, would be your guy, but he doesn't fit their defense. Like I said, he doesn't fit their profile.
What about your boy Danny Wolf? You could have a Danny Wolf.
Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf too. Yeah, I just think they're going to go size and can at least step out a little bit and keep you honest.
I'll just say, man, I feel like I'm not going to pretend to be the foremost expert on the NBA, but I do believe that the Magic are a team that need guys that can make threes and just create. Like Paolo's a guy that needs he needs a run.
They got Desmond Bain. I mean, they got Desmond Bain.
So they just pulled the trade and got Desmond Bain.
True, you're right. Still,
but
they got the worst. They could not score last year. If they could score, they might have. Man, if they could score.
Well, they didn't have a third guy. They just don't have a third guy. They need a point guard. They really need a point guard.
They might. Do you think they reach? Who do got? Like Chaz Lanier? Like maybe they reach. I don't know. They got to go get a guy that can shoot it, man. I don't care. I don't care.
Coming. Hold on, here
Bain's going to help. Bain's going to help.
They gave up 5 first rounders. So
hold on.
They gave up 5. They gave up 5 first rounders. So they got to go get someone that can. They got to go. He can defend. Yeah, that fits. That fits with.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He can score. He can take some pressure off him because he can score. He can put the ball on the deck and go create and get a bucket. I actually love it. Yeah. I love it. And he can be their point guard.
They don't really have that, right? Like because they got Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. They have there
and Colts. They Cole Anthony.
Gone.
They have
Cole Anthony's Black.
Gone.
Cole Anthony's gone.
Anthony Black. Right. Cole's done, but Anthony Black's there. So you got another guy that can. To me, I like that pick.
Yeah, he can score. He can shoot it. Like he defends. That fits what they want to do there.
It's got pro pedigree too, man.
Because the way that Orlando plays, if you cannot defend, you're going to be sitting at home. You're going to be You're going to be averaging the same amount of points.
You're also drafting guys too to complement your stars, right?
Yeah.
And you got to figure out a way to complement your stars. And they we talk about the future of the league. They got a guy. They got a dude.
They got a dude.
They got a dude.
Where does he rank for you guys? Where does Paolo rank for you guys right now? Randolph, you go first, and Henson, I want to hear you say. I want to hear you say something nice about a Duke guy, Randolph.
No, I'm
they said got a dude.
I think he's a top 15 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think he's a top 15 player in the NBA. And I think he's a difference maker. And at his size, he's a problem because he's coming at you. He's starting to knock down his J. He's extending his range. He's not necessarily a three-point shooter now, but you got a guy that big, what he does and how he plays. I think it changes everything. So now you're building roster, trying to get point guard played. You just got Bain there, and he's going to probably step in the starting lineup to give you some consistency in the backcourt. So I like the pick. Gives him time to develop. But he's a smaller guard, but they're used to having smaller guards there. I like his opportunity there with the group like that, the up and coming team.
Henson?
Yeah, I think Banchero is your perennial All NBA guy, top 15 player for the next 4 to
Decade.
7, 5 to 8 years. Yeah, 5 to 8 years, 8 to 10 years, and you build around him and try to maximize his window, which I think they're doing. And it starts by shooting. It's well documented. They could not score. So you bring in guys that can put the ball in the hole. Jace Richardson is one of those guys. He's smooth. He's got the floats. He can hit a three. Went to Michigan State, so we know his mindset on the defensive end, right? So he fits that profile of that. He fits that team.
He's one of the most aesthetically pleasing guys to watch in this draft class. There's something about like lefties and the snatch back and the way that they can I don't know what it is, but lefties are just there's something that's very aesthetically pleasing about watching them. So I'll give you credit there. I feel like at his best he is a second unit scorer that can't really do much else. But I will happily be proven wrong. I
But
really
Rob,
like
that's
Jason
what he'll
Tatum.
be. That's what he'll be in Orlando, and that role plays well. That's his job, and that's what you're drafting him for. You're not drafting.
And that's what they
Take some
need.
pressure off.
They've
Take a
thrown
little
so
bit of
many.
pressure off him.
Knock down a shot, come in, defend, which he'll do. He is a willing defender. And when your second unit come in or you're forced to go to your bench, can he knock down shots? He's not dominating the ball. They don't need you to play with a traditional point guard because Paulo Banchero is going to be like a la Bam Adebayo out of Miami. He's snatching and pushing.
Yeah,
I agree.
fair enough.
I agree. If because anything more, then congrats to the Magic, right? Like, if you get a solid backup player that you can.
You got your starter in vain. You just did that. You just traded away all those draft picks to get a guy like that. That's your starting guard, and then you want a guy like him coming in as well to give you some ability to stretch the floor. One.
All right, so Brooklyn now is back on the clock, back-to-back picks, and it feels like what they've done so far is they looked at the mock drafts from November, and they were like, all right, who was way up on these mock drafts back before the season started? Egor Demin was a top 5 pick then. Nolan Traore was projected as a top 5 pick, and Drake Powell was projected as a top 10 pick. Let me go get those guys. No matter what actually happened, I'm just gonna go pretend like it's November, and that's who I'm getting.
If you look what they're drafting,
Liam
Ray
McNeely.
looks like
McNeely.
Yeah, like if you look what they're drafting, it looks like they're gonna go like a Ray right? I don't know, like a McNeely, but I like them. I think they should scoop up Carpenter. They need size. They have Nick Claxton, who's undersized as a center. I think you got to go big. It's plug and play big too. Older guy, 4-time offensive player of the year.
I love Calc, man. I love Calc. I know there was a I don't know where it came from, but there was a quote from a scout that said that like he's soft as shit that kind of made the rounds this week, and I don't know, man. I love
about
Calc.
who did you hear that about, Rob? Kalkbrenner?
There was a quote that made the rounds. It was one of those. It was on all like the quote graphics on all the aggregator accounts that I follow. But it said Calc is soft as shit from a random NBA scout. Soft or not, 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year says something to me. So
don't disrespect Defensive Players of the Year. I've never seen it. Soft Defensive Player of the Year is actually insane.
Yeah.
Do you go Danny Wolf here?
Ooh, yeah. They're going big.
They got to. At some point, they have to. How many times can we say they're going big? We got 5 chances to say they're going big and have them actually go big. We're 0 for 3 so far. They got to do it at some point. What happens if they don't? What happens if they go like?
You can't guard 2 more guards and wings. It's gonna be a log jam. We talk about opportunity. Someone ain't gonna make
it. You're Brooklyn. Brooklyn is exemplifying. You just stockpiling talent, my man.
How funny would it be if like the pick right now was just Liam McNeely, and then the pick after that was Rasheer Fleming, and it just went with 2 more guards? What if they took like Chaz Lanier and John Tonji?
I like the Liam pick though, because like I said, they've been drafting guys that projected higher. I like the Liam. I wonder why he dropped so much. I haven't really been doing much reading.
Because he can't guard. Because he can't guard.
Okay. He can't guard.
Yeah, it's a defensive thing. Like he can't guard in the role that he was asked to play at UConn. Like he's the value of him is that he could do this, right? Mm-hmm. That's what made him so good at Montverde. And he shot 32% from 3 last year for UConn. But he'll be in a different role.
He had to take a lot of. They had him running off double screens like he was Kyle Korver, bro. Like that's not his game.
Yeah, no, it's not his game. He was like the initiator. He needs to be a guy off the ball to kind of be at his best.
Are you talking bad about your UConn Huskies? Hurley ain't gonna lie. Remember that, Rob?
Yeah, no, I'm already blackballed.
That's Hurley. We got to send that clip to Daddy.
Goodman, you could text it to him and he won't see it because he's blocked your number.
He's blocked my number? Is that true?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
I wish I blocked your number.
He blocked
I wish I
Rob for
blocked
sure.
your number. All right, so we have 10 more minutes that we have to fill here talking about the Brooklyn Nets. So what else you want to talk about here, Henson?
What are they doing? Are they rebuilding? What are the Nets doing right now? They're just stockpiling picks. Let me look at their roster here. What are you doing with Cam? I think Cam Johnson, right? What are you doing with him?
Hold on. I think I screwed up.
What do you got? You got something for us, Goodman?
Yeah, Ben Saraf's going next.
Wow.
Ben Saraf. 6'6".
Cam Thomas, Jalen Wilson.
Hey, he's 6'6". We're 0 for 4, Henson.
He's another guard.
There you go, big for 4 straight picks.
Number
Ben
26.
Saraf, who, unlike Noah
roster,
Essengay, decided to stay in Germany and compete for the Bundesliga championship against Bayern Munich. Israeli too, Goodman. There you go.
When I look at their center,
We're
Claxton
excited.
and Darren,
We're excited.
Claxton and Daron Sharp. It's not that I really see their roster. Center is not a need. They got two good serviceable centers. Just pick whoever's best on your board. It looks like.
We got Danny Wolf. Got Danny Wolf, who's Jewish as well. So we could have 2 Jews here going in the last 5 picks. How about that?
Right. New York. What's the deli over there? What's that deli? Cats.
The good one is what's the big one? Oh my God.
Cats.
Like
what's the one?
Yeah.
When I was in lower east side, there was some line out the door. I think it was a deli. I don't know which one it was. Every day.
Yeah. Katz's isn't the best one though.
It's the hype train.
I think so. The best one is, hold on, I'm looking the names now.
So I like a good sandwich, Jeff. Let me know.
Yeah, well, you were told to eat a lot of sandwiches and you didn't do it.
Listen, I went to the strength coach at the Bucks, or not, the Bucks. I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about going vegan." Or he said, "You need to do everything you see diet." I said, "What is that?" He said, "Eat everything you see." I was like, "Oh, okay, got you."
Vegan. Oh yeah, they must have been like, "We're going to trade this dude tomorrow."
Well, my problem was I came into like 220, and then I would get up to like 235, 240-ish, but my body could not retain that weight. So mid-season, I'm back to 220, 225. I'm talking about I could eat whatever you wanted me to eat. I just could not keep that weight on. Now I'm 240. So life is funny like that.
I weigh more than you. That's embarrassing.
Yeah,
I gotta get back on the
I might be
Pelicans.
245. I don't know. I might be 245 now. I've discovered smoked turkey hot dogs. So it's been a favorite of mine this summer.
Turkey hot dog.
Listen, game changer.
It actually sounds pretty good.
No,
they have to take a big here, don't they?
I got an old fashioned or martini riding on it. Kind of scared now, though.
27.
What didn't we already double up?
No, we didn't double. This was it. They've got to take. I mean, I said they're going to take a big. I said Kalkbrenner, but Danny Wolf shaking his head. Oh, Danny!
Is he shaking his head over there? Does he look happy?
He looks nervous.
Looks nervous. I think he's going to be okay.
He's going to Brooklyn.
Is that Austin Brown? Austin Brown talking to him, pulling him off the ledge here from CAA, trying to tell him you're going to be okay.
Well,
you can always go back.
Oh, he's got tears in his eyes, man.
So you think it's Brooklyn? Because he probably knows it's Brooklyn.
Now Wolf's going right here. Wolf's going.
Yeah,
right there.
What happens in the green room? Yeah, in the green room, they come to you before you even know
and let you know.
Yeah, the green room lets you know. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's getting ready here he's happy enough, not ecstatic, but happy enough. I mean, listen, you still went from Yale to be a first-round pick. That's pretty damn impressive.
Oh, Liam, got to slide those puppies.
What do you guys
That's
think? Wait. What do
exactly
you think, Henson? As a big, watching Danny Wolf, obviously in the NBA, he's not going to be able to have the ball in his hands like he did in college at Michigan and play through a guy like that. Well, maybe he will because the Nets suck. But what do you think of Danny Wolf in the league?
I mean, I think we had talked about this at length before. It's got to be a fit. It's got to be a team that fits what he likes to do. Brooklyn is kind of one of those innovative teams that, you know, they're rebuilding. They seem to let their guys, like, you know, it's not a traditional, you know, team or coach, kind of a newer, younger coach. So I think he'll be fine. He'll get an opportunity to show what he's got. I think it starts with summer league, and then, you know, you go from there. But I like him as a player. I just don't know how that is going to translate as far as how effective his game will be. I think it starts by him being able to hit a three, and then I think he can build from there. Because if he can't hit a three consistently, now as a big man, like if I'm guarding Danny Wolf, and he can't shoot the three, I'm gapping him. So with my size and my length, he's not going to be able to get past me. Well, gapping for the people at home is essentially you stay far back enough where you can slide with him so he can't get past you, and you late challenge. So if I could gap him, he's going to be ineffective, in my opinion. So if he can hit the three well enough to make you get up a little more, now he can start playing around, I think he'll be fine.
I think he's going to be fine because I like his size. He also can put it on the floor, and his ability to that size to see over the defense. He's a ball mover. You can put him in pick and rolls. We saw what he did with him and Vlad Golden for Michigan a year ago. I like his upside. At this point in the draft, man, you get a guy that size that can help create offense for you. He can snatch it and push. He's not a polished guy with shooting it, but in the half court with a motion offense with guys like that, he can be effective. He's going to be able to score. You know, the way, but what he's going to do against your gapping is he's going to hand the ball off like a DHO or pitch and screen with me. And then when I come off, you got to come out there, and then I hit him, and he rolls, and he finishes, and he makes plays. So I like his role and what he could be because at least he doesn't shoot it great, but he puts it on the deck, and he'll put pressure on your defense off the bounce with his size.
Yeah. I think the perimeter. Yeah, I think he's got to be a threat. Similar like Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren's got a really slow release, but he shoots it well enough to where you have to respect it. If I think Danny Wolf can be really good if that's the case.
I think we back even, John. I think we even, John. I called this pick, so I think we back. I
should have stayed with my bigs, but yeah, we back even. Back even.
He's got to cut down the turnovers, man. He tried. It felt like he tried to do make the fancy play a couple too many times.
But Rob, I think he's in a situation in Michigan where they didn't have a point guard, and he was asked to do that more than he will be in the NBA. In the NBA, he'll just be efficient and move the ball. He won't be your primary ball handling, your primary decision maker. He was forced to be a de facto point guard. I think he can post up smaller guys, and his ability to, if he can screen, roll, and play off, and just play in a system where they don't have necessarily a guy, the ball's going to move and dictate that. Again, at that pick and his size, he can be an effective player. Now, I don't think anybody here is claiming he's going to be an all-star, but he's a point forward.
Hugo Gonzalez going to Boston.
Elite athlete.
From Spain.
Elite athlete.
Good athlete. Real Madrid.
Yep. Played 11 minutes a game. You're betting on potential there if you're taking Hugo Gonzalez.
A little surprising because right now the Boston Celtics don't really have a big on their roster. I mean, legitimately, Neemias Queta is probably their starting center as we speak right now because I would expect Horford to retire. They traded Porzingis. Cornette's a free agent. So now,
Goodman, you know what they're doing here? You know what they're doing here? They're taking a draft and stash guy.
Hopefully tanking.
Well, they're taking a draft and stash guy that they don't have to pay that salary to, so that salary can go towards whatever center they're going to end up signing in free agency. I mean,
I was going to say they're going to go. They're going to get a center.
But don't you roll the dice? You need multiple bigs here. You need multiple bigs. You know it. You're telling me you're not going to take Maxime Reynaud with this pick? Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take a shot on him or Rasheer Fleming? Somebody like that, at least a big. Like, you're going to take a wing. You have wings.
You know why? Because you're hoping that you can get Maxime Reynaud in the second round or draft like as a free agent where you don't have to pay the $16 million guaranteed. You can get him for like whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what you're.
Boston's going to get Brook Lopez. They'll be fine.
Yeah, we don't know what they're gonna with Brook Lopez. It'd be interesting to see what they do. I mean, because next year they're not going anywhere, right? Tatum's gonna miss a year, so this is about 2 years down the road. They got dilemmas like, do you play? Do you keep Brown? There's rumors about Brown. Maybe that's where this pick comes from. But you're stashing him. He obviously isn't Brown. I'm not under no stretch making that comparison, but you hear the rumors out there. Are they keeping him? They'll be interesting to see what decisions they make.
Is Liam McNeely the last guy in the green room?
Is he?
Oh, damn, he got ugly cry. Look at that ugly cry.
Who? Danny Wolf? Oh, no. Liam.
His brother bawling still. Oh, my goodness. It's like his brother is bawling.
Yeah, that's the ugly cry. He got the ugly cry going.
That's like Doster when he can't get a drink.
Yeah. He said he just realized he's on national television right now. That was his reaction. Now that's why he's crying.
Yeah.
Is his brother his agent? Does he know how much money he just made right now?
I don't think so. I don't know. Man.
I'll tell you what, we getting at that point right now where you are sweating bullets, bro. When you get to that last pick, the biggest difference in that last pick, oh my God.
By the way, Rob, you don't pay your agent for, at least if you're smart, you don't pay your agent because you're slotted. They didn't negotiate that deal for you.
Right. Yeah.
You don't pay your agent if you were drafted. Now some guys maybe do, but that's pretty dumb because
I can't imagine anybody being that dumb. Right.
So why? How do agents got to rep these guys for 4 years before they get paid? Is that what it is?
Basically, you get paid in the second deal, and you'll get marketing. You get marketing stuff on, so local marketing stuff in the city, you can get that. But I can't imagine anybody paying their agent anything other than a fee, like a lawyer for negotiating the contract or whatever. There's just some minor details, but I'm not giving you a percentage. That's just stupidity.
Is this pick still Phoenix's? Do we know? Does anybody have a clue?
It's going to Charlotte.
It is? It's Charlotte?
It's going to Charlotte.
All right.
What does Charlotte need here? Everything.
Players.
I mean, you took Kon Knueppel, you might as well take McNeely now. Hell.
No, take like a Fleming. Take a shot in a Fleming or a Reynaud.
Well, they just traded their center. They just traded their center, so you imagine they're going to be.
Goodman, you want McNeely to go in the second round so badly. That's the only.
No, I just don't think they need him. I don't think you got LaMelo, you got Khan. You don't need McNeely. You need something.
If you got LaMelo, you want shooters around him.
You are not drafting Liam McNeely after drafting Kon Knueppel. That is called that. You're not doing that.
Exactly. You're not doing
Why?
that.
Why? We just watched teams do it already. We've watched teams draft multiple guys in the same position. The Spurs, didn't the Spurs just do it? Didn't you just pick the Spurs for doing the same thing?
No. This is a little too similar now. This is almost like drafting.
Oh, cut it out.
This is like drafting evil twins, RC. Come on now.
You see how they hedging their bet, Rob?
I see it.
No way.
I see it.
If he can't guard and Kon Knueppel is going to have to probably have.
They just took the fourth pick on a guy that can't guard. Who Kon Knueppel's guarding?
All right, man. Look, you talking bet
he
that
was the fourth pick.
Bet that old fashioned bet is since you think they're going to draft Kon Knueppel's evil twin.
No. I was actually being sarcastic with it, but I'm just.
Okay.
I don't.
Hey, my guy, Charles from the Bucks over there. He's not going. He want to get it. He need a guy that can defend. I know him. He wants a guy that can play some defense.
Who? then they should have been trading players. They
Hey,
ain't guarding
I'm
nobody down there.
I'm just imagining T.O. having to broadcast Hornets games when LaMelo Ball, Kon Knueppel, and Liam McNeely are the 1, 2, 3, and just seeing him lose his mind with the amount of defense that is.
But it would be perfect because T.O. never guarded anybody. It should be who's got to
Never.
watch every game.
Never.
Right.
That dude criticizes everyone for their defense, and it's like, T.O.,
Yes.
we know, man. We know. The only
Y'all
reason-
leave my man T.O. alone, man. Shout out to T.O. T.O. back from Germany yet?
Listen,
No,
listen,
we're going to
T.O.
slander him in Germany.
T.O.
T.O.
This is the true
maybe
story.
because he understands how important defense is and how he wasn't a good defender. Maybe it's because he just understands how bad of a defender he was. He hyper focuses on it.
I just
I don't know.
sent Trevor a picture.
He's teaching his kid to score a lot, Henson. That's all I know.
Yeah, he's teaching his kid. His kid's a gunner. I just sent Trevor a picture. I'm going to see if we can get it up here. This is what T.O. texted me at 8 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time it was in Germany. It was 8 a.m. Eastern time. He sent me a picture of a bar called Dickie Butts in Germany, and he said that he was I asked him how many Pilsners deep he was. He said no comment. So I think my man T.O. was getting after it in Germany. He's living the life over there.
Let me tell you something, man. Clemson, they get after it out
at
there.
all.
Clemson, they get after it out there, man. I've heard, I might have snuck out of the team hotel one time. Had a good time.
This is a good party town, man. Good college town.
For sure.
Henson knows a spot in every city in America, I'm convinced. Henson,
It was
I'm going
after
to Greenville,
Trevor Booker.
South Carolina next week. Where are we going to Greenville, South Carolina? Where's my spot?
Greenville. I don't know. What college is in Greenville? Is there a college here?
Furman.
Oh, I don't know. Greenville, that's out of my area expertise.
That's T.O. right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Trevor Booker days, I'll tell you that. I got good rest for Trevor, though. I slept good that night, but
Trevor, what's happening here? Dickie Butts, yeah. I got that from T.O. at 8 o'clock Eastern time here in the United States of America.
Nice.
Why is he at a place never mind.
Unbelievable.
I don't even want to ask.
Goodman, can you break this news so we can end this stream? I'm tired, man.
Yeah, I'm about to go. I'm
tired.
about to get something. I gotta get something to eat. I'm starving.
Me too. Like I want to go out for a real dinner.
Henson,
But you're sweating bullets
you're
right now, John. You know this. When you get to this 29th, 30th pick, just guaranteed check you about to get.
Man,
Boy,
listen,
you're sweating bullets right now.
I always said I was so blessed.
God.
I always said I was so blessed because I just
they did it. The Hornets did it. The Hornets did it. The Hornets did it. They took Liam McNeely, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I'm betting the over. I'm betting the over, baby. Let's go.
John, can I get my old fashioned, John? Can I
No,
get
that's
my
a
old fashioned?
that's an all time moment right there for me. Like, wow.
Hold on. There might be a trade.
It doesn't matter.
It's going to Phoenix.
It's going to Phoenix.
Oh, it's going to Phoenix. Oh,
it's going to Phoenix.
Oh, okay. See, okay. That's
no, it's going to Charlotte.
Oh, so it's going
Phoenix
to
Charlotte.
Yeah, it's Charlotte.
Ooh, this is too confusing.
It's gonna be some intense one-on-one battles.
Hey, did I not call it?
You called it for sure.
They're gonna make some shots. They ain't guard nobody, but they're gonna make some shots.
Unbelievable.
Hey,
Liam McNeely. If we ain't gonna play defense, we're gonna get some shooters out there.
Henson, Liam McNeely and Kon Knueppel are going to play one-on-one, and they're going to make the right pass every time.
Man,
God.
Let me tell you what's about to happen. They're not going to play together, but if they do, what Zeke used to do back in the day. What? Oh, Kon Knueppel is actually a pretty good defender. I'm not going to go that far.
He's a what?
I think you guys are sleeping. I think you guys are sleeping a little bit on how good he is.
I thought Kon Knueppel slid his feet and was a deep. Listen, come on now, RC.
Barrel chest, man.
Come on, now, RC.
He's strong.
Kon Knueppel was more than serviceable as a defender. Come on, man.
Okay.
They had the best defense in the country.
Yes, Because they had the two best defenders in the country. One named Cooper Flag, and the other one name is Maluach. Like, that's why they were elite defense. Like, cut it
Sound
out.
good. It's not like they hit him.
And,
He was
and they had Sion James, and they had Brown. Like, come on, man. Come on.
all I'm saying is this. It wasn't like I was sitting and watching the game like, oh my God, he's getting cooked.
Because they had the best, and then you had Tyrese Proctor. They had 4 of the best defenders on the court on one team. 9 times out of 10 games.
Somebody put this in the hard drive, bookmark this, McNeely, Knueppel, RC conversation, and we're going to see what happens. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting to see what comes of this.
In my Shaq voice, barbecue, it's going to be Slovenian chicken. That's what he goes. What he said about joking. If you put me back in my prime, it's Slovenian chicken. I'm fouling him out.
Slovenian chicken. Who goes last? Who goes last?
Can we break this news, please, Goodman? Who is it?
Rob ready to go to bed.
I'm so tired. Who is it, Goodman? Come on.
Maxime Renault, baby. No.
You got one job.
What about
Who's picking?
Rasheer Fleming? What about Rasheer Fleming? What about him?
Goodman tried to manifest Rasheer Fleming to everybody. Goodman tried to get Rasheer Fleming to the Spurs at the 14th pick.
Shout out Liam McNeely securing that 2-year deal, baby. Solid. That's a solid $9 million.
I'm going with. Let's go. It's got to be Fleming's or Renault, right?
Got to.
I would think maybe Renault.
No, it's the Clippers. They're going to take some. They're going to take like Noah Penda, someone foreign they don't have to pay.
Right.
Somebody need to take Jameer Watkins. Jameer Watkins also. I think he's going to be a good NBA player.
I love him. I love him.
He's so good. His demeanor, he can guard. He sits down.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be good.
Athletically, checks the box out physically, athletically. I like him a lot.
So you got Jameer Watkins as the best player available for the in the
I got him going to the Clippers. You know what? I got him going to the Clippers. I got him going to the Clippers.
Clippers, huh?
All right, here it comes.
Who is it?
Oh, the big kid Conan from Penn State.
Yeah. I had him. Yeah, Yannick
Niederhauser.
I'm never going to get the spelling.
I like him. I see him as a Daniel Gafford type.
I like him.
Daniel Gafford type. That's how I kind of had this comparison. And he just signed an extension. So Daniel Gafford's going to end up making $100 million by the end of all time said and done by just putting cats in the rim, defending and cleaning the glass. I like that for him.
I like him.
Yep. All right, best. So the end of the first round here. Best player left on the board right now. Best player left on the board. Who you got?
Maxime Renault.
Why?
Yeah, Maxime Renault for sure.
I just think at this point you're talking about non-guaranteed money now. And I said this last year. I thought he was the best offensive 7-footer in college basketball. I think he's a guy that you're going to get in the second day, and somebody's going to pay him. He's going to get guaranteed money, and he can be a backup big for a good team.
Yep, I agree.
I'm on the same page. We led the country with 2010 games. Could do it all. I think he is the best player left on the board. I don't know if Minnesota
you can play him as your stretch. You can play him as your stretch big. He can be your big where you run your ball through him run your offense through him as a passer. He can space the floor.
I think he goes Boston.
Made 3 in the game, man. I'm in. I'm in on Maxime Renault. Great dude too. One of the best interviews we did all year at ACC Media Day. Goodman, best player on the board. Not Renault. Say someone other than Renault.
Rasheer Fleming.
Fleming.
I knew that shit was coming.
What about Janai Broome? Where's he going?
Yeah. He's not.
Yeah. What about Cam Jones? Right?
Cam Jones is cold too. Oof.
Yeah. Cam Jones would be a really good.
What about Tajay? Tajay's good, man. I don't know why people are just so down on him. What's his interview?
He's 28 years old. He's 32. He's older than you.
What about Adu Thiera?
Can't shoot it. Here's one that here's one people are sleeping on that's going to end up being a good NBA role player, and we can end it with this. Tyrese Proctor.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. But he played well, though. He has size. He's a 6'5" guard. He can be a secondary ball handler. He can shoot. And he defends, man. He'll compete defensively. So he will be a second-round draft pick. Somebody will pick him.
Proctor's going to have a solid 4 to 7 NBA career. Then he's going to go play for the Sydney Kings and be the man.
There you go. Not bad.
My boy. Delik just resigned.
This was fun. Goodman made himself $200. Randolph earned himself an old fashioned. What kind of bourbon are we gonna go? We gonna be happy?
We're even. Double or nothing.
I thought I got up on the last one. I got up on the last one.
Yeah, you know toast of the night. Toast of the night. Hurry up, Goodman. Toast of the night, then we're gonna get out of here.
My toast of the night. All right, my toast of the night here. I take off my glasses for this one. Somebody told me I look like it was Hunter Dickinson. I'm gonna tell you what Hunter texted me and told me I look like during the pod with my glasses on. Something like, hold on, I'm pulling it up here. He killed me earlier. He said I look like 55-year-old Harry Potter. That's what Hunter said. It was very cruel. Very cruel. So, Hunter, if you're listening, F you. Anyway, I think we got to go here with Hansen Yang, don't we? I mean, nobody knew who he was. Comes a 7-footer from China, wasn't even on the board, and gets drafted in the middle of the first round. So, Hansen Yang, cheers. And as RC says, go get a haircut.
Go get a haircut.
Yep. Henson, toast
Hey, man, this is the most exciting night for all these guys, man. So I'm not going for anybody in particular. This is a great night, man. You work all your life to experience a moment like that. And it's something I know John will attest to this. You'll never forget it. Just get ready to get to work. But congratulations to all these guys for me.
Henson?
I'm going to go Walter Clayton Jr., top 20 pick, coming from where he came from, his situation, with everything he's went through as a player, to come out on top of the college basketball world. I couldn't be happier. I love those type of stories. This is why I love basketball, because this is one of the only sports that this is possible. Cheers to Walter Clayton
Jr. Yeah, that's a good one. My toast of the night is gonna go to, of all people, Jeff Goodman. He scooped 28 first-round picks, but more impressively, he actually got a camera to function well in HD and in 4K, all by himself in a brand new house.
What kind of camera is that? That's nice.
The end. I feel I never give Goodman credit for anything. The worst thing I can do is say something nice about Jeff Goodman, and he crushed it today. I'm shocked. I'm baffled. I didn't think it was going to happen. But you know what?
Rob, I don't know if you can say that. He actually caused the blackout we had earlier, so I'm going to blame that on Jeff, too.
It's not true. You can't prove that. You cannot prove that. All right?
RC, we going Stogies? We going Stogies? Is that what we're doing here?
Oh, man, I just ordered me some, bro. Yeah.
We going Stogies? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
I still smoke hookah, guys.
Smoke of the night.
So I'm not
both you guys. Hey, both you guys. Thanks for joining us. Rob and I were going to do this just the two of us, but we appreciate you guys jumping on. RC, Henson. I know you probably had other things that you could have been doing tonight. Great to see you guys as always, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you soon.
Hey, Henson has a life. RC ain't doing shit. Who are we kidding?
Listen. No. I was in the house. I'm on Mayor Kingstown right now, season 3. So that's all I was going to be doing tonight. So,
true. That's all I was doing. I was binge watching one of the shows. Somebody told me to start watching, so I just started watching. My son just got home.
Hey, and your friends and neighbors. On Apple TV Plus.
Oh, watch that. Great show.
I just finished the documentary, Osama bin Laden documentary on Netflix. I just watched that. That was good. I'm kind of catching up on that, visiting family. Brandon, my son, just came home too. So,
There you go.
I gotta light my stogies up, man. I got my sticks right now. I got me another box of sticks. I'm like, stop playing with me.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys coming in. That was the first
All right,
time
man.
of the 2020